everyone. Welcome to Mercy Kill. This is episode 32, Super Mario Odyssey with Dangers. And yes, Fur is here too to join us for commentary. If you missed out on any of our GDQ hotfix shows, check out our archive of past runs and shows at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. If you're watching on YouTube, feel free to join us at twitch.tv/gamesdonequick to check out our live shows starting most nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. Also, hey YouTube, nice to have y'all for the ride tonight. We'll be shifting times for some of our GDQ hotfix shows. Check out gamesdonequick.com/hotfix for more information. There's a lot of info, so y'all want to make sure to visit that. GDQ's Some of Best Segments is now launched on YouTube. It is a highlight channel with regular videos, just like our main channel, but with small highlight reels for all of our main events and hotfix. And with that being said, Dangerous, how are you doing? Fur, how are you doing? Nice having you both here.
Excellent. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited to watch some Super Mario Odyssey action. Because of how long this run is, we are going to get that timer started, but I do want to ask some questions as soon as we're done.
Of course.
So on your count.
Okay. Screen's over on me. We can get this run started. Excellent. All right. All right. Let's go. Fur, hi. How's it going? First of all.
Hi. Hello, Dangers. Hello.
Yeah, Fur's joining us on commentary. Yeah, so this is Super Mario Odyssey, Darker Side. We're going to get this timer started right away, and then we can talk a little bit about things. I think, Sky, you've got some stuff you want to ask, so we'll just get right into it. 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck and have fun.
I will absolutely.
Absolutely. So a couple questions here. What inspired you to run Odyssey in the first place? Now, we've seen you run a lot of different categories of Odyssey. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So Odyssey speedrunning kind of started as, well, it was a little bit of like a happenstance, I suppose. Like I speedran Mario games a long time ago, like Super Mario World. I speedran like almost 10 years ago now. And it was kind of just a fun little hobby, but then kind of like as I got out of high school, work started getting in the way. But, you know, I had to take 2 weeks off of work, and I kind of rediscovered speedrunning, and Odyssey was the first game that I picked up, and I guess the story's kind of written from there. So different categories are really nice because, you know, once you get kind of like burnt out with a category, if you hit like a plateau, it's good to kind of change gears and use your skills for something a little bit different. And the PBs start flowing really fast and really naturally if you do that. So that's why I kind of took it upon myself to learn all the categories in this game, because they all have like their own fun bits, you could say.
Well, speaking of which, now, this is Mercy Kill, Dangers. This is supposed to be about rusty speedruns, and I think if the average person were to watch your channel and know, you'd be like, Sky, why is Dangers being on for Odyssey on Mercy Kill on a show about rusty speedruns? What is your defense to this?
My defense is that Odyssey is a very open sandboxy type game, right? So obviously my movement is going to be pretty crisp. I can't really defend that. Like I might even, oh, never mind, I bonked. So not as crisp as I think it's going to be, actually. But basically, all the categories have something different to offer. You're basically going to be following a different path depending on what your objective is. So Darker Side is a category that I haven't ran since March of 2020. So yeah, we're looking at like almost 18 months now, which is actually really wild to think about. That pandemic really kind of puts time out of perspective, doesn't it? So this category in particular is one, I got the world record. It was a 3:07 at the time. It was like, I did a trick at that time that was like brand new, something that people weren't going for in runs because it was considered to be kind of like wacky to do. And I got it, and then I put the category down. I was like, okay, we're done. This is the best I can do right now. I'm gonna leave it and maybe come back to it one day, and who knew that one day was gonna be today?
Well, with that being said, do you have any safety strats? This is such a big sandboxy game. There's a lot of movement. Do you have anything on backup in case something goes wrong? I know Darker Side has some more complicated things than from some of the initial runs that you spend a lot of time with.
Oh, totally, yeah. And a lot of very technical stuff. Like there's actually something coming up right here that I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, then... the good thing about Odyssey is that, like, nothing is really going to lock you out of, like, completing your objective. Like, if I can't get a moon, or if I can't skip a certain part, you can usually just, like, go around the obstacle or pick up a different moon or something like that. So there are backups. There are available options to me to kind of mitigate the damage. So
And how about you, Fur? Now, what is your experience with this game? I want to talk to you a little bit too about it.
All right, so I have a pretty broad experience with this game, I guess. I've tried out a lot of categories. I mean, it's the same with Dangerous. Dangerous has done basically every category under the sun for this game and has gotten good times in them all as well. I'm in a similar-ish boat. I started off with any percent, like back around when the game first came out. I think I peaked at around 3rd place, but that would have been back in like mid 2018. And the time I have now is like nowhere near that, because people just keep getting better and better at this game. Darker side, the category Danger's running today, I have a little bit of experience with it, not as much as some of the other categories I've done now. But yeah, I have a decent history in Odyssey, I guess.
and you know, just a couple world records to your name as well.
Oh, I did. Not anymore. In all moons in 100%. I did have a world record, but not currently.
Those are like 8-hour speedruns, 10-hour speedruns, by the way. So, you know, that's like a combination of speed and sheer willpower and determination and endurance. And that's for underscore speedrun.
There's a reason why I don't do it as much anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. It's hard to do an 8-hour speedrun every day.
Yeah, I don't think anybody can really blame you for that.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit? That's actually a topic that I've always been interested in. How do you all run speedruns that are so long? Like, I do 2 hours of Forbidden Memories, and I'm exhausted, and that's even long for me. I used to do half-hour speedruns, Castlevania 3, etc. How do you all do this for hours on end?
See, sometimes I think back to that, and I ask myself the same question. Because I think I was... like back around when I first got world record in All Moons, I think I was probably putting in around, I think I was putting in around 240 or 250 hours of streaming for each month for like 3 months or something like that. And I don't know how I did that. I can't answer that. It just sort of happened. And I don't think I could do it again.
I think for like a comprehensive answer, I think that I probably wouldn't be so interested in doing long, like especially All Moons, like long categories if there wasn't people to kind of like carry me through it. And I don't mean like people playing for me or anything. I mean like Twitch. I think that speedrunning and Twitch go hand in hand like bread and butter, like peanut butter jam. Like the idea that you can do this hobby and you can also kind of broadcast it to people and share your progress and your experiences is what makes them such a good combo together. So that's just my personal opinion anyway about like, you know, using Twitch as a reason to speedrun, I guess. And so for the longer categories, like maybe I could probably like get good at speedrunning any percent without Twitch and without like people watching, without like kind of keeping me company. But with the longer categories, it definitely helps.
Yeah, that's actually something I mentioned before where it's like, yeah, I don't think I would have been able to do what I was doing with All Moons if there weren't people like watching and talking with me and stuff like that, because you know, it's a long run. It's a long time to be doing the same thing.
So did you all meet each other through Odyssey speedrunning, or is there a little more of a history behind that?
No, actually, I think it was Odyssey speedrunning that
Yeah,
did it.
it was. Correct.
All right. Hopefully I can do this trick. Hopefully I haven't lost the touch. Let's see. Let's go.
Hey.
That's what we call a dram strat. Basically leaving Cappy behind somewhere, and then having Mario do a task, and then like shaking Cappy so that you home in on an enemy to like warp you back up. Now this trick, that's not how you do this. This trick is fun. We'll see how I do on this one. Maybe Fur can explain what's going on here.
There's a little seam in the like edge of the pyramid there that Dangerous can flip out of bounds through. And if he is able to do that, he can do some movement out of bounds to get up to the very top of the pyramid, but it's very, very hard.
I'm gonna try it again. Yeah, and this skips the entire interior of the pyramid, which saves, like, in this category, it's like 30 seconds. Obviously, I've lost most of that already, but I want to show it off because it's cool. Come on now. Oh, no. Okay, we'll give it one more try, and then if not, then I'll go through the pyramid and take the L. Yeah, you got to get this lineup exactly right. And I feel like he's trying. He's trying his best to get in there. Come on, Mario. You got this. Yeah, otherwise, we have to cheat the game in a different way. Yeah, I'll give it one more go, and then I'll just... Yeah, okay. It's not going to work for us. Unfortunate. That's fine. We'll just have to cheat in a different way. So that's in Chinese, what Cappy says there, but it says something along the lines of, like, you can't brute force this. Obviously, Cappy doesn't know the power of speedrunning, so... But yeah, the idea is that we would skip this entire pyramid. It's not necessarily that slow, but, you know, in other categories, there are categories like World Peace, for example, where you skip the entire pyramid because you need to get up to the top as fast as you can. In Darker Side, the objective of Darker Side is to collect 500 moons so that you unlock the final kingdom in the game, which is the Darker Side of the moon. Now, there are some moons in here that I'm going to grab because they're kind of along the way. So that's why it's, like, not as effective in this category as it is in, like, World Peace, for example. But, you know, it's still a cool trick, so I was hoping to show it off, but didn't want to work today.
Are there any parts of this Darker Side run that you're not looking forward to? Something that, you know, this is the reason why I haven't run this category in a while, kind of thing?
Ooh, I mean, that trick was definitely it. Like, that's the trick that I was setting up for, was the one that was new, and I got it on the first try in that run, and then got world record with it. So, obviously, it's kind of scary to come back to that, knowing how hard that trick is to do. But aside from that, I mean, not particularly, like, not really. I think it's just a matter of, like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a reason that I do multiple categories in a game, and it's because, like, once you've hit a plateau in something, you kind of, like, you don't want to burn yourself out on it, right? You maybe take a break away from it and, like, get a fresh perspective on it. I've always thought that that's kind of the healthy way to do things, is if you've, like, gone to the maximum, it probably means that you need to just take a break and take a step away and try something else for a while. So I always kind of did that with Odyssey speedrunning. I was always about, like, jumping between different categories. And so it was just time to move on from Darker Side. But it's also been quite a while, so maybe it's time to come back.
That's always the hope of this show. You know, obviously the runner versus the timer component is fun, but I also like it when people finish their run and they're like, oh, I want to pick up this category again. I want to pick up this game again.
Yeah, and I mean, it is possible. I mean, All Moons has kind of been my focus right now. I feel like I'm on the cusp of, like, improving in that still, but I got to have somewhere to go after that, right? So maybe Darker Side.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool new discoveries in the last year and a half, too, that I haven't been able to take advantage of, of course, because I haven't been playing. So maybe now is the time.
So what other games do both of you stream normally in addition to this?
I personally am, like, a Mario speedrunning. That's kind of what I do. Fall Guys came out, and that kind of, like, captured the essence of, like, speedrun platforming in a battle royale format. So I think that was really popular with a lot of like, Mario speedrunners and stuff. Like, you saw a lot of Mario speedrunners pick up Fall Guys and, like, yeah, this is kind of cool. So I play that sometimes, but I've also been working on other Mario game speedruns, like Galaxy has been kind of my focus lately. So what about you, Fer?
My recent focus, I guess, has been Super Mario 3D World 380 stars damageless. It's been very hard. Because that's
As it
like
turns out.
that's basically that game's all moons, and I'm trying to do the entire thing in one try without taking damage. Like if I take damage, I can't just like restart the level. I have to start the entire game over.
Exactly, yeah. Has anybody done that before?
I don't know. It's not always clear with that sort of no hit or damageless stuff because there usually isn't, unless it's like a Souls game or something like that. There usually aren't leaderboards or places tracking. Oh, who's done this?
Right.
That should be a category extension, in my opinion, for a lot of games. That'd be fun just to see how many folks have done it and what their times were and everything. It would be an interesting component of speedrunning for sure. And damageless and deathless, they've both been so popular lately. I've been seeing so many runners take on so many different challenges.
It's fun. It's
Kind of like
definitely
giggling.
fun.
I don't mean to cut you guys off, but I'm kind of like giggling to myself right now. I just I did something that I wasn't expecting to work at all, and it just kind of did, and I'm pretty sure it was faster than like, the normal thing. So
Pipe clip.
yeah, the pipe clip. So kind of like the door at the beginning of the pyramid. Oh, I'm just gonna slide down slowly, I guess. Like the door at the beginning of the pyramid, there are places in this game where you can go through a wall just by like rolling and then canceling your roll with good timing. And it turns out that like pipes are one of those places. They're typically like the hardest ones, but I just decided to try it out this time, and I guess it worked. So you know what? I'll take it. But yeah, the damageless stuff is like really fascinating to me because I have patience for speedrunning, but that's like a whole other level for
Just the damageless stuff.
yes.
Yeah, it's got a lot of similarities, but it's definitely different because when you're doing something with the intent of not taking damage, it's in some ways like the opposite of a speedrun because while you're still trying to like play the game at like a high level, you're often incentivized to take things a lot slower or
Yeah.
more methodically, where with the speedrun, your goal is just like, okay, how do I do this thing as fast as possible?
Yeah, the risks of going fast are sometimes just like, you know, you throw caution to the wind in those situations. You're like, if I fail, it's fine because if I get it, that means I go fast. So, and you can always reset whenever you want, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, interesting strategy of this fight. Like most of the boss fights in this game, and you're going to see them all because we do have to complete world peace as one of our objectives here. Most of these boss fights are pretty straightforward. They're pretty linear. There's just like usually like one minor detail that you can do to make them go faster. In this case, when the fists are like flying towards you together, you can roll through the middle of them, and for some reason that makes the fight go a little bit faster, like 3 seconds. So that's why I'm rolling through the arena like this.
I like the no damage runs because back in the day I used to do races on Speedruns Live. I don't know if folks still do that anymore. I might be outdating myself a little bit here.
I know it was
But,
really popular with the Sunshine community, so
Yeah.
they might still do that.
So I used to opt for consistent tricks over really difficult to get but really rewarding. And I find that in a race scenario, and then even so much in the damageless scenario, those strategies actually translate over really nice to those ones.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting too, because with like a hitless thing, even if your goal is to, you know, beat the whole challenge without getting hit or taking damage, the slower you take things, the more of a time commitment and the more of a pain it is whenever you make a mistake. So like sometimes doing those fast strats can be better so you're not spending, you know, 5 hours on something that could be like 3 hours or 2 hours or something like that.
Oh,
So you have
definitely.
more chances.
I was referring more to, and we all have these in our games, those tricks where it's like, I have a 95% failure rate on this, but it saves 3.5 seconds.
Hey,
And
I
it's
mean, 3.5 seconds.
All right. I have to choose Wooded Kingdom first here. It's not as pressing in this category as it is in some other ones. Like if this was all moons and I didn't choose Wooded first, I'd be pretty hooped. I'd probably just have to reset. But Fur, maybe you can explain why that is. Why am I choosing Wooded first?
Why are you choosing Wooded first? So I don't know the exact reasons for Darker Side, but I know in general, like the reasons why it matters which we pick. And the big one is in this game, there are like paintings, and those paintings are like a way to fast travel from like one kingdom to another. And depending on which kingdom you go to first in the forks in the road, will affect which which kingdoms those paintings take you to. And the other, and that like sort of just affects routing with stuff like there's certain moons in the game called hint arts where you have to like look at them for a moon to be available and stuff like that. I don't know exactly how much that is affected in Darker Side, but it's all stuff to take into account with the route.
Yeah, it's basically just that. In this category, the hint art is kind of the pressing thing. So we're going to be looking to like look at the hint art when it's more optimal for us to do so, and by changing the painting order, like we put sand after wooded, which is what we need. Otherwise, we have to look at the painting in the first visit, and we have to kind of go out of our way for that. So that's the technical jargon of it all, is that like hint arts as well as painting chain order equals just a little bit of time save. Right. So right now we're in the deep woods, and this is a place that most people don't like being. There's no compass, so you can't tell which direction you're going. There's no map, so you can't really discern where you are. And you also can't warp out of here. But it does have a handful of like really fast moons, so we are going to come down here for those. I love this. You can like stand on top of the vine.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't really utilize it very well, but... But yeah, honestly, this category is basically just like a moon collect-a-thon. You're trying to collect 500 moons, like I said, as fast as we possibly can. And that's going to be accomplished in a bunch of different ways. The main way being just finding what the best routes are for the beginning of the game. The beginning is kind of like a setup period for the second part of the game. Got to do a little bit of a clip through a wall here. Nice. Good. Gaming.
So Dangerous, I have a question.
I might have an answer for underscore.
So do you have like a sort of route prepared that you're going with today, or are you just sort of like, you know, going with what you remember, or how are you handling that? Since it's been a while.
It has been a while. If I didn't find myself a route or like have some sort of reference, I'd be pretty hooped, to be honest, because this isn't like other Mario games. Like, think about Super Mario 64. If you had like your splits tell you what star you need to collect next, it'd be pretty easy to just kind of follow along with it and be okay. This game is a little bit more complicated than that, and you're in an open world, and when you collect a moon, you don't go back to the beginning, right? So if I didn't have reference material today, I would not be able to beat the time. So I've got a little bit of a cheat sheet here, I guess you could say.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I won't still get lost. That doesn't mean I won't look at the sheet like, where am I going next?
I know what that's like.
Honestly, one of the most satisfying things about the speedrun as like a speed game is just like all of the movement tech that's available to you. Like, it takes your usual Mario game and just kind of like ramps it up to 11. Like, imagine if Mario from Super Mario 64 also had like a portable bouncy platform that he can just like engage with at any time. Like, that's kind of what this game is all about. It's great. All right. This is Spewart. This fight is really hard, and you're about to see why. Just like probably the hardest boss fight in the entire game. I'm shaking in my boots right now. Very difficult stuff. Yeah, I barely stood a chance, to be honest.
That was a close one.
Yeah. And on the topic of notes, they are very helpful, and they're good for like keeping open. Like the cool thing about speedrunning is that it's not like your exams at school. Like this is allowed to be an open book quiz. Basically, is like nobody's gonna fault you for needing reference to remember where you're going. You know what I mean? So the Odyssey community is very good about keeping their resources up to date and stuff like that when it comes to these kinds of runs. So if you join the Discord, which is kind of like the collective database of information that this game has, if you join the Discord, you can usually find the resources you're looking for whatever category it is you want to do. But yeah, that was actually a really good Wooded Kingdom for not having done it in a long time.
When you said that, all I could think of is the Mega Man 2 trick, Good Wood.
Good Wood? Oh gosh, what does that entail?
It's like a zip. It's like multiple zips across the screen, and then you're out of bounds, and then you die, and then you end up right near the boss. Like, it's a wild trick to watch.
That sounds great.
But it's called Good Wood because it's in Woodman stage in Mega Man 2.
Right, yes. Mega Man has such good music.
So does this one. The Cascade Kingdom in particular. Cascade and Wooded Kingdom both have some of the best music in this game, in my opinion. And of course, who would have saw it coming where you would have music in this game with lyrics in it? I don't remember too many Mario songs with lyrics in it, but both of the songs in this game that contain them are so good.
Yeah, surprisingly, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, I don't think there are any other Mario games that have ever taken that approach, so it's interesting to see. So I really like Lake Kingdom in Darker Side. We won't actually see some of the cool stuff until later on. Lake Kingdom tends to be kind of like a boring kingdom if you're just playing through it once, because it's a small kingdom and there's not a whole lot to do here. But once you get into the post game, there's a lot of like cool sub areas and cool moons and stuff like that. So this will be a kingdom to watch out for later, is what I'm saying.
Oh, definitely.
That's another thing I really enjoy about doing other categories of this game. Like any percent is a pretty rigid line through the game, and that's fine and all. And there's lots of like cool tricks that you can showcase in any percent, but when you think about how many moons you get in an any percent run versus how many moons this game actually has, you're looking at like, what is it, like an eighth, like a seventh if we're being generous of like the amount of moons that are actually in this game, right? So there's so much content beyond just the any percent run that can be showcased. So it's, whenever you do those longer speedruns, you get to kind of make things fast that you don't usually get to see, and that's kind of fun. Now that picture that I just looked at, it was very important that I looked at it. That's called a hint art. And hint arts, they are basically like a hint, as the name might imply, of the location of a moon somewhere else in the world. And we as speedrunners, we obviously know where those moons are because we've done it 1,000 times. But the game kind of locks that moon behind looking at the picture. So if you don't look at the picture, the moon doesn't show up there. So it's very important that I remember all my hint arts. I remember talking to the tourist. I remember all these kind of like things that don't really give me moons, but will later, because otherwise it'll cause problems for me later on. So. All right. This is Cloud Kingdom. This is just kind of like a fast boss fight with Bowser. So if you got any more questions from maybe the chat or something, hit me up.
For right now, I know we have some general Mercy Kill questions as to why the timer's going down, what is the other run we have in the lower left. So a couple things. The run that you see below is past dangers. We try to have past PVs on there just to see where the runner is against the PV. It's something fun so you all can see the difference between the two, and if the runner is faster than that, you'll know that the runner's also on PV pace. We've never had a PV on Mercy Kill before, though. And the timer is going down because as soon as that timer is done, that's it, run's over. There's no extra time here on Mercy Kill.
Which is why we call it Mercy Kill. It's me against the timer. That's all the time I have, and if I go over it, then we're donezo. So.
Yeah, that's what they used to call back in the day on a marathon if a run went way over estimate and we needed to get those charity events moving, because there's a lot of people in those marathons, and you don't want to push back the marathon by too much. So that was what was once called a Mercy Kill.
Right. A little bit of GDQ history, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you thinking, Dangerous? Do you have any predictions? Do you have any predictions? Is Dangerous going to beat the clock? I mean, it's still far enough ahead where we won't know for sure, but I'm just curious about predictions.
I honestly have no idea.
It's a tough call. Like, I've been credited for being pretty good at, like, not getting rusty at games. And of course stuff like that happens, right? So
here we go. The chat's gonna blame me again. They blame me for the bonk in Cap Kingdom. Here we go again.
Yeah, that's just how marathons go, honestly. But that's, it's just, it's hard to say. Like, 7 extra minutes off of a PB that, again, when I got that run, was like very good for the time. So it's really hard to say. Oh wait, am I supposed to go here yet? I don't think so. Yeah, here we go. Here's a little example of like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, I went the wrong way. Yeah, I definitely went the wrong way. That's okay. We'll figure this out. We're working on this together. Here we go. Okay, we're gonna have an extra moon. We're supposed to go this way. Yeah, and so I would actually, like, we were saying, well, you play a lot of Odyssey, so like, what's the big deal? Like, you're gonna crush your time. It's no big deal. Like, you're gonna beat your goal time, no problem. That's kind of like our own brain works against us in this category, or in this format, because like if you do a bunch of different categories, then they kind of get like wrapped up in your brain a little bit, and that can cause problems. Like, I just lost time because I got confused. So.
Chad is like, Sky, why are you doing this to Dangerous? I know, I feel bad. I talk, and then Dangerous falls down something or does somewhere. I'm afraid to talk now. That's why they have me talking between the games at the GDQ events, y'all, because I can't do that if I'm reading donations in between.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Well, I just got kleptoed.
Something happened.
Yeah, I just got kleptoed. So I was supposed to avoid this happening. Basically, Klepto's a bird that lives in the kingdom, and we specifically take a route through it so that Klepto doesn't see us, basically, because then they steal Cappy and a cutscene plays and it's really long and we have to like get Cappy back. All of that wasn't supposed to happen. So now here we are, and we have to deal with the consequences. And that loses about 40 seconds. So, just throw it on there. Just a little extra time loss that I definitely didn't need.
I'm sure that for how big as this category is, that there are arguably spots where you could save time as well.
Surely, yeah. Like, my PB wasn't perfect by any means, so we'll make it up. We'll be all right.
Yeah, someone had said something in chat about how the estimate is only 8 minutes over your PB. Well, here's the reason why, y'all. I'm trying this new thing on Mercy Kill because not everyone has a rusty speedrun. Not everyone was even speedrunning back in 2013, 2014, right? So in exchange, the less rusty it is, or the more familiar you are with the game. Because again, what do we know dangers for? We know dangers for Super Mario Odyssey, especially for speedrunning. So what we do is I tell the runner, all right, you need to figure out a tighter estimate, because it's not interesting if the runner wins by a very generous amount.
Exactly.
The exception is that if someone's feeling really nervous and it's their first time on the show, I tend to be a little more loose about things like that, because it's hard. It's hard to be sitting in dangerous position. So again, some of it's based on comfort level, but other things is the more familiar that a runner is with the game, the tighter I'm going to ask for the estimate to be. It's still up to the runner, but it's something that is definitely a compromise.
Right. And
I got another question. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It might be the same question you're about to bring up. Is about the same route as in the PB video?
Yes.
Right, great, okay. I thought that was a really interesting question. It kind of caught my eye, so I'm glad that you noticed it too. It would have been. The answer is it would have been if I was able to get the IP, like the inverted pyramid skip at the beginning. Unfortunately, I had to kind of like swallow my pride and take a little bit of an easier route. So this is more in line of like, or, you know, a route that doesn't do that really hard trick. So there's going to be only a couple of minor adjustments, but essentially the same. Kidding? Oh, I did it again. Mario, what are you doing? Come on now. There we go. Trying to be too fancy, you know. Sometimes that hurts me.
So let me ask you this. You said you, do you run other 2D Mario games? I was trying to remember. I think you do, but I figured I'd ask.
2D Marios?
Not 2D, sorry, 3D.
Yeah, so I've been streaming a lot of Galaxy lately. And I've given like an effort at some other ones as well. But Galaxy is the one I'm focusing on right now, so it's the one I have the most practice in aside from Odyssey. But yeah, Odyssey was kind of like what grew my stream and the one that I put a lot of practice into. So even though I like kind of advocate for switching up categories and stuff, when you know you kind of get burnt out of what you're doing, it also is kind of my belief that if you put a lot of effort into something and just kind of make it your primary focus, then you'll also just kind of have better results, because you can kind of, you know, I guess be more focused, be more diligent. So that's why I haven't really like gone the whole multi-Mario route. Like there's good speedrunners out there that just kind of like, they do things like the 602, for example, where they do like literally all the Mario games back to back and they do them 100%. Like I could do something like that, but I'd rather take my time and like get to a level that I'm comfortable with all the games. So
I do wish you would run a 2D Mario. I think that's what was on my mind, because that was my wheelhouse. I did speedruns of all of the All-Stars versions of the Mario games, so I didn't know if you were ever interested in any kind of 2D Mario runs.
Oh, 2D, absolutely, yeah. I spent a month trying to get sub 5 in Super Mario Brothers a couple years ago, and I was able to accomplish that goal, so that was pretty cool. And like I mentioned, I started with speedrunning like way back, and it was with Super Mario World, so that was actually kind of what got me into speedrunning in the first place. And I was thinking about, like, back then I held this mentality that 2D Marios were better for speedrunning than 3D Marios were, just because you were able to get more precise. You were able to do things more perfectly than with a 3D, because, like, you know, it just kind of fundamentally makes sense, right? With a 2D game, you're only kind of moving to the right and you're jumping at the right times and stuff like that, whereas in a 3D game, it's a lot harder to be perfect because there's a whole other dimension to work with. So I kind of like abstained from those kinds of speedruns for a while, but then when I started playing Odyssey, that feeling melted away instantly, and I realized that there was value to being okay with those mistakes, I guess. So
yeah, there's mention in chat about the Mario Hour, which is a initial race presented by Darvian about doing, I believe it was the any percent of, it was like Mario 1, 2, 3, Super Mario World, and then I believe Mario 64 was added to that too, which was interesting because there was a 3D Mario incorporated into that. Is that something you would ever be interested in taking up at some point?
I think, yeah. I mean, it would obviously require a lot of like practice, But definitely not something I would shy away from. But it's worth a try, you know. I think my end goal with speedrunning is to just kind of have like a basic, not just basic, but like an advanced level of knowledge of all the speed games from Mario. I think that'd be really cool. It'd be like, oh, you just want to do, you know, Galaxy 2 today? Sure, why not? You know what I mean?
How about you, for any 2D Mario games that you've done or are interested in doing?
I have never done a 2D Mario game, so I won't say never, but there isn't anything that's currently on my radar for 2D Mario speedrunning. So who knows? But right now, it's not looking super likely.
How about other 3D Mario games?
Other 3D Mario games? I definitely think there's a chance. Like once I finish what I'm doing with like 3D World Damageless, I don't like think I'll want to really go back to doing speedruns in that game, because that's what I was doing before. I was speedrunning 3D World, and part of the reason I started speedrunning that is because I got really into Bowser's Fury when that came out. I had world record in it for a little bit. Actually got to run it at this last SGDQ. That was a ton of fun. But yeah, I could definitely see me picking up another 3D Mario in the future. Don't know which one or when, but I think there's a decent chance it'll happen at some point.
Yeah, because 3D World has been your focus for now, right?
Yeah, and after that, I'll have to figure out a new focus.
So can I assume you all tried the 3D Mario All-Stars, the one that was released on the Switch that had Galaxy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it was good. I think they, you know, personally, I think it could have been like a different game rather than just like a remake. But, you know, that's my personal opinion. It was pretty good. And I think that speedrunners even like running like Galaxy, for example, on that version instead of on the regular version, just because the Switch controller is a little bit more ergonomic, I guess is the word that I'm looking for, instead of like using a Wii remote and a nunchuck. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's cool that speedrunners have latched onto it. And actually, for Sunshine, the world record is actually faster on the Switch than it is on the GameCube. So. Right.
Apparently I can't see it right now, but apparently there's a kitty on your past PB video, Dangers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's super sweet. She's the reason I have a Twitch channel in the first place, to be honest. She's the reason people show up.
Aww.
Yeah, she's super sweet.
What's her name?
Her name is Tails. We just call her Kitten, though. She's like 5 years old, but she doesn't look like she is at all. Like, she's still very, very small, very baby. Yeah, she's the... She shows up in her chair sometimes. We've got like a little office space set up next to my desk that she's got a chair and she sits in it sometimes. So she keeps the channel cozy.
And for those of you watching on YouTube as well, too, I've been plugging it in the channel here in terms of text, but please give both of these wonderful folks a follow. That is twitch.tv/dangers and twitch.tv/fur. That's FIR_. Please give both of them a follow. Fantastic streamers.
Heck yeah.
Know you. Make sure you go follow Sky as well. Does phenomenal work for the GDQ stuff. And, you know, I mean, if you watch GDQ, you know who Sky is, so. You should already be giving her some love. All right. Arguably one of the best parts of the game right here. Unfortunately, you guys in the commentary, you can't hear the music, but it's banging. It's banging. You know it.
Time for some banging emotes then in chat. Got a few good music ones.
Let's go. Get some jammies in there.
Yeah, everybody post your favorite music emotes. Let's make this wholesome in chat.
You know, one thing I was always, I don't want to say better than others, like just in general, but maybe better than others in general. Like people complimented me on my ability to do the 2D sections in this game, because there are a couple. And moving through them is a little bit awkward compared to, you know, well, I mean, of course, as soon as I say it, I fall into the oil barrel. But it's a little bit awkward switching from 3D to 2D, and like the physics of this particular like 2D Mario are different than they were in the classic games. But I think they do help me a little bit. I think my experience with 2D Marios does help me in this section a little bit.
Oh, we have some great emotes in chat. Keep them coming, y'all. That is wonderful.
Right, I'm gonna sit here. Don't want to have to do the whole festival again. There we go. Whoa, what is this camera angle? Hello? I haven't seen that before.
That was something.
Just wanted to get a little zoom in on the bassist, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So just a couple more moons and we can be out of here.
Have you all seen you see the emote of Barb dance in there?
Yeah, that's a good
that's
one.
So good.
Oh, that's so good. I mean, they're all good, but that one of Barb really caught my eye.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Metro Kingdom all done. Thank goodness. Felt like I was going to get lost in there, so.
I was gonna say, are you not a fan of this one, Dangers?
The beginning of this game is really tricky. Like, Darker Side is a lot of setups and stuff and, like, completing the story. And there's just a lot of scary stuff in this first half of the game. Like, once we get to post-game, once we beat the main story and we see the credits, it just smooths right out. And it's just, like, you're collecting moons at a rate of, like, 1 moon per, like, 18 to 20 seconds at maximum. So it just, like, that's the part of this category that just feels, like, so good. It's so nice. So I'm just trying to barrel through, keep my head down, and hope that the game doesn't, like, punish me too badly as it already has, so that we can get to, like, the really fun part of the game. What? There we go. I needed that. Here's another good turret. And we're going to try and go for another moon clip here. I got the other two, but this one is arguably, like, the harder one. So hopefully it doesn't go wrong. We can hope, anyway. Oh, I missed something, actually. I have to go back.
Oh.
I have to go shopping.
Oh.
I'm shopping.
Buy a hat.
Buy a hat? Fur, I don't have coins for that.
Oh.
You don't? Is coins kind of tight in this run?
Yeah, we need to buy, like, a bunch of shop moons. So we got to be a little bit conservative, but maybe if we get towards the end, if we've got some coins left over, we can throw on a hat.
As a treat.
As a treat, yeah. Maybe? No, I don't think so. No, unfortunately not. So that means we have to go for the backup, and this one has a history of being kind of finicky, so I hope that it doesn't take me too long. Oh, there we go. Nice. 4th try is not bad at all. It's super weird playing all moons so much, and, like, that being the main category that I focus on, and then switching to this one and, like, leaving all the purple coins behind and stuff. All right, this is a Chivarian, but we've affectionately named them Snoodle. And they're going to be our little friend as we do this upcoming mini game. Usually when I do this in my streams, we do like a little guessing game to see who can guess the time to the closest hundredth of a second. Well, actually, you got to get it exact in my stream if you want rewards, but you know, if chat wants to throw out some numbers, they absolutely can. Good guesses are between like 52 and 54 seconds usually, so
52.50.
the classic 50 guess from for underscore.
This vaguely reminds me, just ever so slightly, reminds me of Goron races from Majora's Mask.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's got that vibe for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Little bouncy boys going around the track. Very round. Very round.
Very.
This is... I've never seen this. This is really cute.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because this is what you need to complete the story in this kingdom. Like, you don't save Snow Kingdom, quote unquote, without doing this. So like, it's, you know, if you play the World Peace category, if you play the Darker Side category, or any category that needs to complete World Peace, like this, the story of the whole game, you have to do this, and that's just precious. It's wholesome stuff. Fur, you almost got it. You almost got it.
That's unfortunate.
52:46 final time. All right. Now, Snow Kingdom is kind of small and condensed until you've accomplished World Peace, and then it, like, the snowstorm clears outside and a bunch of moons become available, so it's kind of annoying to do this kingdom in most of the categories because of that. So when you do clear World Peace, you usually get like half of the moons outside that you need as well. This way. Oh no! Oh, that's no. Kind of bad. Ooh. Just enough time. Yeah, we do fishing here. Okay, great. So there's not very much RNG in Mario speedruns, but this is like one element of RNG is this one right here. This fish is going to behave nicely today.
Heck yeah.
First try. So what determines whether it's a big fish, the fish that you need, or like whether it's just a nibble and then they'll run away, is a vibration in my controller. It's either like a very fierce vibration or it's just like a little nibbly vibration. So I have to know which one it is, and I have to pull up when it's possible, but it's a 50-50 whether it'll be the good one or the bad one, right? So the worst I think that I've ever had to sit through is like 17 bad ones. Lucky that it didn't happen this time.
I'm happy that's the case.
Oh, yes. Otherwise, we'd be still fishing right now.
See, you saved some time then. I know you lost out on a little bit earlier, but got some back.
Mm-hmm. We're making our way, you know. We're making it work. All right. Or what's your favorite kingdom?
See, I get asked that question all the time, and I just never have an answer. So many different and unique and interesting kingdoms in this game. It's pretty hard to just single one out as like, oh yeah, that's my favorite.
I'm sure that there's one that you do not like, though. There's always one of those.
I mean, none of them are really bad, to be honest. There was a point in time I didn't like Lake Kingdom, though, I think. Just because small, I guess. I don't know. Small and water.
Small
But
and water.
it's fine. It's not a bad kingdom. It's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one thing I do remember about this category is that we leave that that moon down there, and don't worry, I'm not forgetting about it. It's gonna sit there for a while. It's just gonna vibe, but it is kind of funny that we just like leave it there, and that's just it. We just kind of let it vibe for a while. We collect the notes, and then we just don't really care about them. And even like right here, we like go right by it. Yep, don't need that. And just kind of continue as normal. Yeah, Darker Side was one of the more unique routes for a lot of the kingdoms as well, so like it's kind of been busting my brain, like trying to revert from what I've been doing and what I'm used to. I have to like park the boy right there. Otherwise, Captain Toad gets kind of scared. He doesn't like the Gushins. He's not a big fan. And I'm also purposefully placing him like back here. Whenever you collect one of the story moons, if there's a capture, like if you're in a capture or something, you need to basically destroy the capture to do that little cutscene that plays. So we didn't really want that because we want our Gushin. He's a good friend. So we put him as far away from that story moon as possible so that we can capture him again. And I actually kind of mucked that up a little bit. That's okay. I guess we'll just do this.
Yeah, that works.
Run, little guy, run.
That works.
Not as well as I wanted, to be honest. You know what? We just have to roll on the land. That's fine. Yeah, a lot of these, like, little things are going to start adding up, I think, when it comes to this category versus other categories, because it's like, you don't do this in all moons. You don't really try and accomplish any of this in all moons, so I'm getting a little bit bamboozled, you could say. Man. Okay, I think that's all we needed to do in Seaside. Yeah, that's right. And now we get to fight the boy. For what's his name?
The boy, you always do this to me, Dangerous. Every single time you brought me on commentary for anything that has been Odyssey related. And of course, it's always had this boy in it. And I never know.
How do you not know?
Because I don't bother to put it into my long-term memory. It's not vital to my survival.
Did I miss one? Oh, I did miss one. It's not vital to your long-term survival.
It's not.
Have you considered making it a part of your long-term survival?
Well, that wouldn't be my decision.
Oh, okay, well. You know what? This Seaside has been just fantastic. All right, here we go. It's time, and because Fur doesn't remember their name, I'll gladly share it with you. This is Brigadier Mosslinster III, the Fan of the Blame, and he's very angry, if you couldn't tell by his head being on fire. We did just shoot 4 corks into space, so I can imagine that's not a pleasant time. This is where we get this moon now, by the way, because it's just sitting right here. And there's something a little bit cheeky we can do with this boss fight. So we're gonna follow him around. We're gonna bring him over here. And if we actually are faster than him, if we speed run to this next location, we can make him do some weird things. So we're going to try and make him do some weird things. He's just going to clip right through here. Yeah, that's totally normal NPC behavior. I wouldn't expect anything less from someone with such a large brain. So... All right. We did it. We survived Seaside. Goodness. Yeah, so even with my cheat sheets, I'm still finding myself in positions where I'm like, gosh, where do I even, like, what did I do next? I'm so lost. So I'm getting a little bit nervous. Am I going to be able to beat that time? Who knows? Who knows? It's getting kind of scary.
Notes are always allowed. If you have notes, you can always refer to that. Are you meaning you're going to get to the middle of a kingdom and you're like, I don't know where to go next?
Oh, that's already happened is what I'm saying. And I even have my notes up. I even have notes, and it's still happening. So, yeah, it's not as easy as it looks, I suppose.
That is a lot of moons to commit to your long-term memory, speaking of which.
It's true. We need to collect 500 of them. So
in this show, it's vital to Danger's survival, actually.
It is. In 8F's show, PB Precipice, the goal was to get a PB or else I get sent to jail. Is that what happens if I don't beat the timer here as well?
Oh, no, the scythe will just destroy your run.
Oh, okay.
It's vital to the run survive.
Yeah, true.
That's an important clarification there.
If I ever want to play Super Mario Odyssey on my Nintendo Switch ever again, I have to do well.
The scythe is just plastic, though. A lot of folks ask me, is that an actual scythe? I'm like, it's plastic. It's a Halloween prop.
There you go.
When it can be safe to meet again, I would love to have folks who've been on the show sign it, though. That would be fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay, sure.
Yeah, what does the jail thing mean? I'm with Chad on this one. What does 8F mean by that?
I go to jail.
Do you not pass, go, or collect $200? Like, I don't know what this means. I'm gonna message 8F tonight and be like, 8F, what the heck does that mean?
Why are you sending contestants to jail?
Well, there's got to be stakes.
Yeah, true. Can't just let me, play video games on the stream for no stakes, right?
Yeah. You get a stake if you win.
Oh, that sounds great.
That's an idea. That's an idea. That's one I can get behind.
Sometimes I'll do that for Oth. If he gets a good PB or something, he's really proud of you. Take him out for dinner. Why not?
I love that.
It's a celebration. You get those things at those super fancy restaurants. What are you celebrating? We're celebrating gaming. That's what we're doing.
Gaming. They're just like, well, all right, carry on. Please continue gaming.
I mean, do you feel like you would be more motivated if you knew you could have a steak dinner after?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Anybody out there want to buy me one? I'm so down.
Well, y'all know where to go. Or if you want to find both of their channels, there is a sub button on both of their channels. I'm just saying. Help Dangerous get a steak dinner.
A new sub goal. But only if he PBs. That'll be in the fine text.
He doesn't have to PB. He doesn't have to
only
PB.
if I PB? Oh yeah, well, no steak dinner for
if
me.
he survives the run, and all this pressure on Mercy Kill, in my opinion, Dangerous deserves a steak dinner. The long run.
Thank you, Sky. This sub area is always really fun. It looks really scary because you got really thin pathways, and now that I've said something about it, I'm probably going to. Oh no, we're good.
No, Dangerous. It's only when I'm talking when these things happen, all right?
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. I appreciate you not, then.
Aww.
I'll try and jinx myself in the future.
You did it a couple times already. I've
true,
been
I
paying
did.
attention. Yeah. I think we just made chat hungry. Uh-oh.
Good, that was the goal, actually. And it doesn't help that I just captured a giant slab of meat as well.
Wait, is that
not.
fondue on there? That's a fondue thing Mario's on?
Yeah, like some sort of like, I don't know, maybe it's a chowder.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a big bowl of soup or something.
It's a little less exciting than cheese fondue.
Yeah, I could go for some
That's
of that
true.
right now, actually. Yeah, don't buy me the steak dinner. Just go take me out for cheese fondue instead. I'm down.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too,
I'm
honestly.
down
I'm putting a lot of work over here in the commentators.
for that. Yeah, working up a sweat and everything.
Yeah.
That's something that I typically do when it's safe to do in-person events. I typically go for a cheese fondue once per event. It's good for the soul, you know.
Oh, totally.
course.
If you can find one around, why not?
Oh, I always find a way. There was actually I want to say one of the SGDQs, 16. I want to say one of them was in like downtown Minneapolis. There was literally a fondue place within walking distance of the hotel. Yeah, it was nice. Sorry, y'all. If you watch my shows, it eventually it gets into talking about food. That's just the way it is.
I would have it no other way.
Exactly.
Oh no, and puns. Yeah, that was only a matter of time as well. Also, I gotta make sure to turn off my mic. I'll feel strongly about something happening in the other room.
Oh, I killed my lava friend.
No.
I'm so sad. Oh, I killed my other lava friend.
Dangers.
There
How are
we
you gonna
go.
get the steak like this?
Yeah, it's gonna say don't kill your lava friend. Those are friends.
I'm supposed to cook the steak. If I kill them all, there's gonna be no. Well, even if I win the steak, what am I gonna do?
You're gonna have to let me know if you do make it through this run, Dangers, and make it past the timer. You have to let me know if you get a collective sub amount for steaks after.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. Ooh, that worked. Okay. Nice. Gaming.
Gaming.
We're about to see it. Oh, that's not gaming. That's anti-gaming. Oh. There we go. That's what I meant to do. Nice. There we go. All right, I've reaffirmed my gamer status with that one. Thank goodness. All right, this is Cookatiel. This is probably like my least favorite boss in this game, despite it being a bird, which might sound blasphemous, I understand. But this is just a bad bird, not a good bird. Their hitboxes are not very friendly, and so even if you think you're like right underneath Cookatiel, you try to go for that hit right there, and sometimes it just doesn't work. Sometimes you like climb up the lava waterfall, and you have to like rub up against Cookatiel's face a little bit and just like hope that you get the hit that you're looking for, and it just doesn't work sometimes. Yeah, it's not my favorite boss. They seem to be cooperating so far.
Is that bird's name really Cookatiel?
Cookatiel, yes.
Oh my god.
That was actually a really good fight. They do not appear to be a cockatiel, though, so I think it's a bit of a misnomer. They're definitely a bird, but I don't know about a cockatiel. I think they're like more of like a big chicken. Feeling good. Feeling fresh right now.
It's good. We're just a little bit over an hour in right now. That's good that you're still feeling fresh. Reminder to everybody, hydrate, get up, stretch.
Yes. Very important. Can't be sitting down for many hours at a time. Not good for you, believe it or not.
Not.
No, believe it or not.
You say it's vital to long-term survival dangers.
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of like going fast in this game for this run's long-term
Understandable.
survival.
I am taking note, and I'm going to be standing up.
Good.
Yep, I just stood up too. It's a good idea to stretch once an hour. I say this and poor Dangers is stuck sitting down for a little while.
Yep. Sorry, Dangers. You can't stand up like the two of us.
That's okay. I'll get over it. We'll be okay. There will be an opportunity for me to do so after Moon Kingdom anyway, so we're almost there.
Oh, good.
Okay, well. Oops. Let's try that movement again, shall we?
Yes, without the oops, please.
Yeah, that's... Cappy, where are you? What are you doing? Cappy!
No!
Cappy was stuck on something. Oh, that was really sad. I'm sad on the internet.
Are you blaming the cap for that?
Uh-huh.
I would do the same.
Wait. Wait. Okay, that's fine. That's what I meant to do. Yep, perfect.
Struggling a bit there.
Nailed it. Yeah, there was no... I'm actually, I think that's the world record for Ruined Kingdom. Coming in hot right now. Always got to reveal the Captain Toad. That's very important. Make him dance.
By the way, y'all, if you are enjoying Dangers and Fur's company as much as I am, please be sure to give both of them a follow. There are the links right there. Please go give both of these wonderful people a follow.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Twitch.tv/dangers, twitch.tv/fur_. Also, looks like somebody bought GDQ a steak dinner by the looks of it.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Well, I will do a plug really quickly for GDQ while it is on my mind on that.
Sure.
Remember,
you got lots of time
folks.
here.
Yeah, remember, folks, that Mercy Kill is brought to you by viewers like you. Your subs, gift subs, Amazon Prime subs, and bits shared on the GDQ Twitch channel help support our weekly hotfix content. Thank you very much for supporting our shows. We very much appreciate that. We got a lot of great new programming happening too soon. So if you would like to see some of those shifting times and new programs again, that is GameStackQuick.com/hotfix. We'll give you all the information you need there. So very happy about all the new programming happening there. Danger's we'll say kind of responsible for one of the new ones there, that PV Precipice with ADAP. That is, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. That sounds amazing.
That's right. Yeah. Cool concept, honestly. Like, the idea being, get into, for the people who are maybe not so initiated to what speedrunning looks like at its rawest form. A lot of people who watch GDQ might only know GDQ for its like marathon showcases, and maybe they've seen a couple world record videos on YouTube or something like that. So that show does a pretty good job of like breaking it down into what goes into it, like behind the scenes almost. You can find, if you have a favorite runner, they usually have a Twitch channel and you can kind of watch them do that kind of thing. But for anybody else who's never seen that kind of stuff, it's a good showcase, I think. So...
Yeah, as a reminder too, especially because this one is a longer run, if you cannot catch the entirety, I'll even say, of our shows live, remember, we are going to be on YouTube with these shows. You will be able to watch the VOD. So if for some reason you can't catch all of it at once, we know life happens, you'll be able to catch it there on YouTube. Also, the highlights reel. Let me look up the full name of that again. GDQ Some of Best Segments. That's another really cool speedrunning theme name there. That's on YouTube. And again, that contains our highlights. So again, if you want to you've never seen a show before, that would be a great introduction to a show as well. Let's take a look at the highlight reel. So
Yeah, that's a really cool idea, actually.
And someone had asked in the chat as well, is this the only run tonight? No, we do have Never Before Seen right after this, so this is your one-stop place here on Tonight for Twitch. If you're enjoying yourself again, please, you'll definitely want to stay tuned for Never Before Seen right after this run. Fantastic show, even more fantastic showrunner in Amber Cypern. Big fan of them. So be sure to stay tuned for that next. But still a lot more of this run to go here. We're only through roughly about a third of it. Still 2 hours left, so you have plenty of time, Dangers.
That's right. That's right. We just got to get through Bowser's and then Moon, and then, like I said, this game is going to open wide open. That's just when we start doing the painting chain, and the painting chain is just going to be like, we never have to interact with the Odyssey. The moons are going to pile up on the left side of the screen, and we're going to be collecting moons at a rate of like 1 every 20 seconds at maximum. It's going to be less than that most of the time, so things get really fast, that's for sure.
Do you enjoy this run better after Bowser's down for that reason?
I'd probably think so, yeah. I can say that about a lot of the kingdoms in this run, or a lot of the categories in this run, to be honest. I think that the post game has a lot to offer that, you know, the early part of the game kind of misses out on. But I do have to admit that the early game has a lot of like really cool movement and stuff too, because that's like the movement that most people have optimized to its full potential, right? Like lots of people are only concerned about getting to the credits, and then that's it. So it's got some of the like the coolest movement, but it doesn't like really scratch the surface on the whole game, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Oh, it bounced over it? Okay. Thanks, Cappy.
I've never seen that, actually. Oh, you're blaming the cap again.
Always.
That's
always.
a common theme in Super Mario Odyssey speedrunning.
Yes.
Really, it's always Cap. Poor Cappy. What did Cappy ever do?
Cappy takes the brunt
Well,
of it. Mario is a
sometimes-
perfect being. So.
Sometimes Cappy does do stuff that you as the player don't necessarily want them to do. There are like little things with like some quirks with how like Cappy is thrown by Mario that can make it annoying for some.
Definitely. Mainly because this game is trying to kind of handhold you a little bit. So there are some times where you'll throw Cappy towards something and there'll be something else nearby that Cappy's like, ooh, you want this, don't you? And you're like, no, I don't, actually. I don't want that 1 coin. I kind of wanted to, you know, prevent myself from dying by capturing this enemy, for example. So yeah, you know, it is Cappy's fault sometimes. I'm not even going to lie about it. All right, I think I got the capture warp there. Nice. Main courtyard. Okay, we do need this checkpoint. All right. This boss fight has like a really cool trick in it. Let's see if I can get it. Nice. So that bomb is levitating, and that's on purpose. Don't worry. So that we can get that second hit in right away afterwards and kind of skip one of the phases of this fight. Saves about 2 seconds, I think, so. Very nice. That fight went really well. We have to get Topper out of the way as well, but he's kind of a pushover. Of course, now that I've said that, he will find a way to ruin the fight, because that's been happening all day today. Boom. All right, we're good. We're good. Everything's fine. All right. kind of excited for the mech fight. I haven't done it in a marathon in, well, actually since Talkatoo, so it's been a good couple of months. We'll see how it goes.
If I have my mic off for any amount of time, Oth has been reacting to something, so I'm making sure there's no hex that get on the stream, and I don't mean just heck.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're all good.
This kingdom looks very, very, very difficult to speedrun. Like, it looks like it takes a lot of practice, more so than most of the other kingdoms we've seen so far.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a very, like, platforming-heavy kingdom, so a lot of, you know, the whole goal of the kingdom is to kind of put your skills to the test that you've learned along the way. So, yeah, this kingdom, even for a casual, just kind of has that by virtue of it being the last, well, quote-unquote last kingdom. So it does kind of make sense that it would be more difficult, but that also means that we can do kind of some flashier stuff with it as well, with a lot of risk. That's kind of the exclamation point on what I was trying to say, is that there's a lot of risk in this kingdom. All right, there's a trick coming up here that the community has named Fast Timpanino Poke Dram. And that's how we name things in Super Mario Odyssey. It's the best trick in the game. It's also the hardest, so let's see what happens. Oh, I missed. All right, that was like slow-ish medium Timpanino Poke Dram, I would say. Okay. Here we go. Here's the neck fight. Fur, do you want to explain what's going on here?
Want to explain what's going on in the mech fight? Well, Danger's going to be climbing up the mech without the use of a capture, which is the intended way. Capture is the intended way to get up. And basically, he's going to be getting knocked back by the mech and ground pounding or half jumping back onto these bubbles to try and do a really quick kill. Like, the goal here is basically just to stay on the mech, and then whenever the bubbles are able to be hit, like right now they have invisibility frames to hit them. So in a moment here, Danger's going to be able to get the third hit, and then if this goes well, he will be able to get the fourth.
Oh, and my input dropped. Of course it did. Yeah, you hate to see it. So that's another thing that Cappy can sometimes be blamed for, is input drops. This game does play with wireless controllers, and I don't really know if that is the only reason that we have input drops, but it seems to be kind of the primary one. And so in that case, my input just didn't register, so I fell down to the ground and had to lose 20 seconds, but that's okay. Still pretty fast fight anyways. Okay. Another input drop. Would you look at that? This game is being very nice to me today. And we're almost there. Just the Moon Kingdom left. And then we can get out of here. Then we can get into the meat and potatoes of this run, so to speak.
More food.
More steak?
Oh, yeah. You know it. Just got to take a little detour to the side first.
Isn't there a skip on the moon? I'm trying to remember.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember there being some pretty not easy to execute jumps there.
Yeah, we're definitely going to do that. In fact, the skip that you're probably thinking about is a skip that was found, like, literally day one when the game came out. It was it's what's called the Moon Cave skip. So the Moon Cave is this, like, lava cavern that, like, careens through the middle of the kingdom. You have to go in, and the music's really intense, and like lots of scary platforming, and you have to fight Madame Brutal at the end. But you can actually just kind of go around the back and pretend it doesn't exist, which is pretty cool. Saves about 3 minutes, so definitely cool that we found it like immediately. Big time save, and it's kind of like one of the beginner things that you should learn when you start speedrunning this game, because you know you could probably spend 3 minutes trying to get it and still save time. So. All right. So Moon Kingdom, we're going to be collecting just a couple quick moons on our way over to the cathedral as well. So we got to go this way. These bunnies are so annoying. I'm glad I got that on the first try. Careful here. Very nice. Nice. Ooh. You know, oh, well, of course I spoke too soon.
No.
I think that was, I don't know what happened there. I don't know why Cappy disappeared. That was very strange. I was gonna say, you know how sometimes, like, you know, I can sometimes forget where I'm going, but sometimes it just kind of comes back to me. And that was, I was having a moment of that. I was like, oh yeah, this triple jump, like, you just do this. And it was so good. And then it just, Cappy disappeared and never came back to me. And I was so sad.
Yeah, what the heck, Cappy? Can't keep doing this.
Can you understand why Cappy is a problem now, Sky?
Well, kind of, sort of, but I just feel sad when folks blame Cappy. Like, Cappy's so adorable. I'm sure there's people in chat who think Cappy did nothing wrong.
Okay, Cappy was nice to me there, so you're off the hook this time, bud. Collect a couple moons on our way in.
I like how things are so urgent for Mario, but nope, let's take this detour to collect moons. Because, you know, there's time.
Yeah, of course there is. Where do we have to be? Save the princess? That's okay, she'll be there. She'll be waiting. Yeah, see? Didn't matter that we took like an extra 3 minutes to get here. She's still here. It's fine. All right. In this Bowser fight... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say something silly. Of all the times I've watched this game, I can't get over Bowser's hairdo in this.
It's... I mean, he went above and beyond for his own wedding. You know what I mean? Like, he's putting on some style points, and we can appreciate that. Slicked off to the side. What a dapper lad. Good job, Bowser. So this fight is basically the Cloud Kingdom fight again, except this time he has a phase in between where he, like, spits fire at us. It's really not that scary. It's not that bad at all. The fire might look, like, big and large and intimidating, but it really isn't, like, at all. Like, I can actually just roll over it like this. Oh, never mind, not like that. Of course, as soon as I say words, that's when the game is like, oh, you can? Can you? I've made a grave mistake. Hold on. We can fix this. Yes, okay, that still worked. Nice.
There we go.
That heart is sitting right next to me, and it's so tempting to, like, go and pick it up, just in case. But we got speedier things to do. All right. Now, when I first played this game, like knowing the whole capture mechanic was the thing, and I saw that like the fight wasn't the end, I was like, oh, we're gonna get to capture Bowser, aren't we? This is awesome. This is exactly what I wanted. So you get to finish the game as Bowser, escape the moon that's imploding from the inside. Now there is a trick in this part of the game that is, it's kind of got a reputation for being the hardest trick in the game. I'm gonna give it a try because why not? Let's see how it goes.
I'm kind of impressed that they can all survive in space without any kind of space suits or anything like that.
Yeah, right? So it's always been like a weird point for me as well. Like, how do they do that? Like, they have meters for breath, right? For underwater. So how do they survive outer space? So we didn't get the trick. We kind of had to swallow our pride and just do it the regular way. But
I got my music emotes ready. I hope everybody else does, because this is probably my favorite song of the game. So
absolutely.
Good.
Yep. Here's the banger. Did I get it? Oh, one of them got destroyed by itself. Nice. Okay, I did get it. The 360 no scope. We love to see that. Okay, not bad. This will be my opportunity to stand up and stretch my legs a little bit now that we're through the original part of the game.
How does it feel, Dangers?
Feels good. Providing energy for myself for the rest of the run. Stay hydrated.
Yep, stay hydrated. Everybody get up. If Dangers could get up during a run on GDQ Hotfix, y'all can stand up and stretch. It's good for you.
Absolutely.
And also stretching your arms. That's something.
Uh-huh. Get the whole stretch, top to bottom.
Just self-care in general, however you need to. That is a good way to put it.
All right. What's our timer looking like right now?
I'm
1:30?
showing 1:31 right now, so.
Okay. I would say it's looking pretty grim, but that's okay. If we do manage to have like a really good post game, then we can still beat the time. But I think the timer might be able to beat me already. We'll see. All right. There's a lot going on in this castle right now. Gotta like break down the tiles. I think I was supposed to get all that, right? Yeah. Nice. Okay, yeah, here we are. So this is, again, the exciting part of the game because we're gonna just be collecting moons at a rate of like 1 moon every 20 seconds at maximum. Like from this point on, it gets really fast. We go here. This is kind of cool, like right here, because we just peek in here and talk to Captain Toad while we're collecting moons or while collecting notes. He's just like, yo, thanks for involving me in your little adventure.
What a sweet moon.
He really is, isn't he?
I was thinking about this. You must spend a lot of time traveling on the Odyssey for the first half of the run, because the first half of the run is as much, it looks like, as the second part. It's not like you finish the moon early. It looks like there's almost an equal amount of time after, and I know you get so many more moons after that, so spending time on the Odyssey must cost a lot of time.
Certainly, yeah, and story elements and cutscenes and stuff like that. Like, now that we're in the post-game, we're not going to really have any of those things to worry about. The only thing that's really going to slow us down is, like, going through paintings, which, again, is kind of a small amount of time, and also, like, opening moon rocks and the moon animations themselves, like these things. Otherwise, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on here. So that's why it's so fast, and that's why it's so, like, engaging, too. That's probably why, like, this run, and even all moons, I guess, to a degree, like, some of my favorite runs, just because of how fast-paced they are. Fishy, take him on a journey. I used to know a really fast way to do this, but I think I'm just gonna have to improvise it a little bit. Oh, that's, come on now. There we go. There's like some really, really cool movement you can do in this outside portion when you get like really good at it. You know what? Maybe I'll just try it anyway. How does that sound? Am I gonna make it? Yes, let's go. Nice. That's probably the quickest way that you can get that shining on high moon like that. So I'm glad that I was able to make the triple jump across. That was really cool.
So you were talking about earlier about how this kingdom in particular really opens up once the storm's gone?
Yeah. So a lot of the moons that are outside, you know, those didn't exist when the blizzard was happening. Down here is pretty much the same. We actually didn't go into any of these rooms in the early game because now each of them has like an extra moon attached to them. So it's kind of time beneficial for us to, you know, save them for later, right? It doesn't make sense to complete the story things in the first visit if we can skip the story. Come in here and do these rooms, get some of the fast moons, make them faster essentially by waiting for them to have a third moony inside of them all, which is really handy. I am used to playing all moons. All moons is kind of like my main category that I've been playing in Odyssey. So when you start doing the painting chain in all moons, you are in the kingdoms for like 20 minutes at a time. So it's going to be weird to be in Darker Side where you're maybe only in the kingdoms for like 5 to 10 minutes at most. And another reason that we leave these sub areas or like these like extra snow rooms for after is because the story moons usually require you to complete like a puzzle or something like that. Like in this room, and for example, there's actually a boss fight. We're supposed to fight Rango at the top of this place here. But you'll notice, oh, I was supposed to pull that. That's okay. you'll notice that Rango is not here. The moon that he spawns on his little platform is just vibing, and we can just collect it for free. We didn't have to do the Rango fight. So it's really courteous of the game to have thought about that, I guess. It's like, what if you didn't collect that moon and somehow completed the story? Well, then we'll just put it right there on the platform for them. So yeah, it's very handy for us.
Are there any other bosses that are like that?
I mean, there's a lot of optional bosses. Like, again, any percent doesn't really complete a whole lot of the story, so they try to avoid it as much as possible. But as far as, like, you know, story-breaking bosses, like sequence breaks, the only sequence breaks that exist in this game are in Snow Kingdom and Sand Kingdom. But in Sand Kingdom, you still have to do the boss to kind of get to the end of it. Where do I go after this? Oh, we go in. Okay, yeah. Gotta find the monitor. Cute little boy thinks he can get away from us.
I'm sure the first time this category was routed, it was really difficult without a lot of prior information about things like this. This is really interesting in terms of routing.
100%, yeah. Yeah. Like, the earliest Darker Side routes were just like, oh, well, I mean, I'll just kind of peruse all of the kingdoms and try and collect as many moons as I can, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the development of this game has been in, like, developing the routes, because again, it's not like any other Mario game where you kind of go in and then you complete the star, which is always going to be the same every single time you play it, right? Like, Odyssey's a lot different than that. So routing this game is what, you know, a lot of people kind of aspire to. It's like one of their favorite things about this game is a speed game. All right, this is a bit of an interesting trick. Oh, not quite. I got kind of greedy there. Nope. There it is. Looking for that ball. Very nice. Fur, do you want to explain what just happened there?
With the ice jump?
Yeah.
So when you bounce off of Cappy, if Mario is considered like to be on the ground when you bounce off of him, you'll do a higher jump. So there, the way Dangers landed on Cappy, the game was like, oh, Mario's like standing on the ground or something like that. So we're gonna give you a slightly higher bounce, and that lets Dangers get up to the painting in an unintended way that ends up being a lot faster than the intended way.
And what is the intended way?
There's those little like Haifu guys in the kingdom that like blow wind and stuff. You can capture one of those, and since they float, you can just bring one all the way over there, basically.
That's right. Yeah, and they move very slowly. They're very cumbersome. So
Indeed.
all right, Cascade is probably one of my favorite kingdoms in this category. Just post-game Cascade is probably one of my favorites in general, because like there's a lot of neat little tricks and things that go on in it, especially the sub areas. We're only going to see one of the sub areas, I think, in this run, but it's one of the good ones. So hopefully it goes right. Hopefully I don't hype it up for no reason. I'm going to capture this Chain Chomp. It's basically for no reason, but also for something that we haven't actually talked about yet. Maybe you can fill the viewers in at home what the Chain Chomp is for.
We haven't talked about that yet, have we?
No. Not yet.
In this game, there is a set of moons, 61 to be exact, that you get essentially for completing achievements. One of those achievements is captures, in the sense of like, oh, what different enemies have you captured? So I think there's one or two extra captures in the run that Dangers is going to do that are unnecessary, just so we can get an achievement that gives us an extra move later in the run.
Yes. And those achievements are kind of like arbitrary goals, and they can be for a lot of things. One of them just so happens to be captures. One of them is like achieve world peace. One of them is like do a certain amount of timer challenges and stuff. And like a lot of Darker Side was actually routed with those in mind. Because we're gonna, I think Toadette has 61 achievement moons in total,
Yes.
and we're gonna be collecting 30 of them. So, because, yeah, we're gonna explore the joys of Toadette later. It's really great. She does have 61 moons, and she literally does give them to you one at a time, which is just fantastic. I can't think of any better way to spend my time. But if you remember,
Exactly.
the moons in this category are like 20 seconds long at maximum, but each one of those Toadette moons is only 8 seconds. So if we collect the right combinations of moons that, like, I guess, satisfy Toadette's needs, then we save a lot of time in collecting power moons because of that. What? How did that miss? Are you kidding? This moon is really good and fair.
Yeah, it's finicky.
Oh, I was supposed to go the other way. Interesting. Okay. So this is a little bit of a divergence from the route that I remember. And then down here. Yeah, so this is what I needed all those coins for, because I'm going to be doing some shopping. I have quite a lot, so I might be able to buy a hat if you want me to for underscore.
Heck yeah.
Ooh, what kind of hat?
That's a good question, actually. I'm not supposed to be here yet. I just realized. On top of the rubble. Tourist. Okay, yeah, this is a little bit different than I remember it being. So now I have to, like, very actively make sure I'm watching my my route so I don't get lost. We used to take like the big dino over here. There's a moon hiding underneath that telephone pole, but I guess we don't get that anymore. Oh, hold on a second. There we go. Now we get to go back to Bowser's Kingdom. We were like just there, but we get to go back, and that's fantastic. The second visit is quite a lot of fun, actually, so. Okay. Whoa, what's going on, Mario? What are you doing? All right. I love this trick here. Literally just like cast ourselves off the roof so that we can get over here. Very risky business. Okay, sure. That's not what I meant to do, but that's fine. Nice. So, Fur, how are you doing? What did you do? What did you eat today?
What did I eat today? What did I do today?
Yeah.
You know, I was just chilling today, you know. Just haven't really done too much. Worked on some stuff a little bit.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
You enjoying the Mario Odyssey for my Nintendo Switch?
It is your Nintendo Switch, all right.
It sure is.
I've been enjoying it.
That's awesome. That's all we need to hear. What about you, Sky? How are you doing? What did you do? What did you eat today?
What did I do today? I did a bunch of adulting. I tend to do adulting during the day, and then I do my streaming stuff and my work stuff at night. I don't do mornings very well, honestly. That's why.
Same.
I mean, you give me the option to work at like 2 a.m. versus like 10 a.m. I'm gonna take the 2 a.m. every single time.
Totally. Yeah.
Sure.
I feel you there.
But I've been hydrating all of today. I just noticed though I haven't had like a coffee or an energy drink of any kind. I'm just like, dang, feeling a little tired with the seasons changing here. So I got to make sure that I not only hydrate but I stay energetic.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm running out of mine a little bit too as well, but I've got some. But I feel you there.
But this has been very relaxing. This run is so fantastic to watch, and there's so much to it, and it's just fun all around.
For
I
sure.
agree. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this run. Odyssey in general, honestly. Oh, that's not what I wanted. That's fine. Let me get some birds in the chat. Little bird capture action for you here. Oh. Nice. I did get the strat. We'd love to see it. And we saved the bird. What a happy day.
Are birds overall nice in this game, or are they jerks like they are in most other games? You always hear that saying, birds are jerks in like the super old games, you know, because they'll knock you back into a pit or something.
Well, that bird was really nice to me just now. I think the only bad bird was probably Cookatiel, if I had to be honest. But yeah, birds are mostly nice in this game. I have no complaints, but maybe I'm also biased. What do you think, Fur? What do you think about the birds in this game? Oh, I think Fur might have taken a step away, perhaps.
That's all right.
That's all right. That's okay.
We can always ask later. It always happens, too, if someone goes to take a break. Be like, hey, what do you... Oh, oops.
Yeah, oopsie. I think Fur is a bird appreciator as well, so I'd be a little concerned if he wasn't actually.
Say there are no bad birds. Y'all ever play a Castlevania game? What do you mean there's no bad birds? Ninja Gaiden? I don't know about that, y'all. Dangerous burbs, those are fine. Those are good burbs, but some of these burbs in the retro games are not so nice.
True. But you could say that, you know, that's not the bird's fault. That's the retro game enemy fault. Oh, that was another nice little dropped input there. We're getting a nice display of when inputs don't work. That's not what I wanted. Mario, what are you doing? Come on now. Nice. Oh, we even got the little pipe slurp there. We love to see it.
Hey,
Hey, Fur, you're back. Hello, welcome.
I am back.
We have a question for, are there any bad birds in video games?
Are there any bad birds in video games?
Yeah.
I mean, Statistically, there has to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Vader? Yeah, okay.
Not in this game.
Well, except for teal.
Well, I guess so, yeah. But all the other ones. Each kingdom has its own bird chat,
It's true.
for those who don't know.
It's fantastic. The one in Luncheon is my favorite one.
Wait, no, I just thought of the worst bird. What about the one in Ocarina of Time that's on the near the ladder in Lake Hylia? What about that bird? Have to
What
deal with
about
that
that
bird
bird?
in Zooter all the time. Always knocks you off the ladder.
What a rude bird.
It is a rude bird.
We don't associate with that bird.
I don't know if it's fair to call the goose from the Untitled Goose Game is a bad bird. I like that bird, even if that bird causes trouble. That one's a keep.
More of a chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah, they cause mischief. They don't cause trouble, you know?
Well, they cause trouble just indiscriminately.
Yeah, that's fine. They just like steal your hat or your vegetables or something. I don't see the problem with that.
So if birds aren't like the rude enemy in this game, which ones do you have difficulties with, Dangers? Which one is the one you go up against? You're like, oh, this again?
That's a good question. Gosh. Fur, what do you think?
Like an enemy, that one, it comes up just like, oh, this guy. Like that?
Yeah, like that kind of reaction. Like you don't want to deal with it. It's just like, you know, like
That is
for
a
example,
tough one.
like the ice keys and ice cavern in Ocarina of Time. Nobody wants to deal with those. Nobody ever wants to deal with those.
Yeah.
What would that be in Odyssey?
Like, as a Mario speedrunner, I can pretty comfortably say that, like, we just kind of avoid all the enemies for the most part, unless we need to
Yeah.
capture them, you know? I guess the piranha plants are kind of annoying to capture if you need to. So that's a top contender, I would say. But they, like, if you're just trying to avoid them, there's no problem. So, it's a tough call. It's a tough call. Good question. Yeah, somebody in chat just said dropped inputs. True.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean- That does happen in this game.
Sincerely surprised, given the discussion over the course of this run, nobody said Cappy. I would have been sad.
Cappy, I mean,
Oh my gosh.
kind of true. Kind of true. Where we need to go for all of this nonsense shenanigans.
You ever now someone said in chat earlier that there are 880 moons in this game. Do you ever
Yes.
grab one unintentionally that's not on your route and you're like, oh, I wasn't supposed to get this one?
In Darker Side, sometimes. Yeah, sometimes. Again, like having the routes kind of mixed up in your brain can make that a little bit difficult. Doesn't happen that often though. I would say like the most common thing is that I pick up a moon that I was supposed to get, but I just get it maybe in the wrong visit of the kingdom.
Yeah.
Or more commonly is I forget them. I'll get to a kingdom and I'll be like, oh, I'm like 3 moons short. Why is that? I guess I must have skipped over one, and then it becomes a really fun game of like, okay, how do I back this up? Which moon was it? Was that a Toadette achievement? Am I like hecked up now? Like, the panic sets in at the end of the run, and I can almost like, you know, knock on wood and everything, but I'm almost certain that will happen this run.
Do you know if we've missed anything yet? Like,
I
are the
don't
moon
think
counts?
so. The moon counts are over, which makes me very confused. So maybe
I mean,
that thing that we were
Yeah,
talking
just getting
about.
moons early. It happens.
Yeah.
I do it in all moons, and I'm like, wait, I missed a moon, but I have one more moon than I'm supposed to. So yeah, things get weird sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Coming up is this like underwater maze. This is like everybody's favorite Smile. Just very good. I don't know anybody who has a problem with this moon at all. It's perfect and glorious in every way. So like RNG is not really a thing in Odyssey, but this room almost kind of operates as if it does have RNG. Like the Koopas, they might be on a cycle, but we're not really sure. And so the way that they organize themselves and the way these moving platforms organize themselves can cause problems a lot when you're trying to run this room fast. Okay, the bottom half was good for me. That's really nice.
I love these 2D sections. They're so cute.
Right? Yeah. It's a good touch. This game has like a very heavy-handed dose of nostalgia, but being somebody who grew up with Mario games, like I'm not going to complain about that at all. It's great. Okay, yeah, we're going in the right direction. It's starting to come back to me, you know, like sometimes the muscle memory does do a pretty good job of being like, hey, yeah, you know where you're going. Like, you're a boss, you understand. You've got this. Other times it's like, what year is it? But right now I feel like I've got an okay grasp on my life right now.
I think we can all relate to that with just what is time, like the same idea, right?
Oh, for sure. All right.
Speaking of which,
trick.
we just crossed the 2-hour mark. That's all. Good.
Oh, that's all. Got the 2-hour mark out of the way. I'm not panicking. I definitely think we can beat it, Smile.
I believe in you, Dangers.
I'm doing a neat little trick here. So this game, in order to save memory in a lot of places, it kind of behaves like it. That was the trick just there, is like I avoided eel damage. The game likes to save memory, and so if something isn't on the screen, it doesn't exist, basically. Like, that's how it kind of conserves memory. I think I need to go through. And that eel is an example of that. Also, what is going on? Hello? That was just a really silly, like, little bounce on the parasol there. So I was, like, purposefully facing my camera downwards so that the eel wasn't on screen until, like, I was already in the little nesting spot. And that helped me kind of slip in and out without having to wait for the eel to come in and out and take damage and stuff like that. So. Okay. Ooh, Wooded Kingdom next. Let's go. Wooded Kingdom is a trip, that's for sure.
So, what do you mean by that?
Arguably one of the harder kingdoms in the run. And it's basically, it's kind of underpinned by the fact that there's like the deep woods underneath it. The deep woods is where we visited earlier. The deep woods can be fallen into at any time, and like I mentioned at the beginning, like there's just no there's no way to warp out of them. So if you fall in, the only way out is through one of those like vines that I climbed up earlier. So it's not a place you want to go, because you will lose like minutes worth of time if we end up down there. It's a pretty scary place to be. Also kind of cool though is that I talked about world peace, right? The concept of world peace is just like doing the story in all of the kingdoms to save the land. We haven't accomplished world peace in Wooded Kingdom, because whenever you do like a story element in this game and whenever you collect a multi-moon, it sends you back to the Odyssey, and then it wants you to go all the way back up to the top of the kingdom to fight this boss. So we left this boss until now. So we're actually not having saved the world until 2 hours into this run. Right now, basically. This is my good friend, the Speedy Nut Boy. He is but a wee legume right now, but through kind of manipulating the stage, I can force him to go faster. You can see now he like jumps really far and he doesn't stop when he lands on the ground. Like I said, a lot of the bosses in this game are kind of unavoidably slow. Like you just have to wait for the phases to happen and then just react accordingly. So this is like one way to make this boss a little bit faster, is to use this capture creatively, I guess. We don't really know why it works. We don't really know why this little spawn platform, if you like jump on it in specific ways, you can manipulate the way that this Speedy Nut Boy behaves. So,
Speedy lad.
taking damage for no reason. You love to see it. Oof. Oof. Oof indeed.
Ooh.
Now we're in Wooded again. We can kind of talk about those hint arts again. So the reason we picked Wooded first is because now Wooded Kingdom is going to be showing up like before Sand Kingdom. There's a hint art that's going to lead to the Sand Kingdom to collect a moon. But when we played through the game at the beginning, Sand Kingdom came before Wooded Kingdom, right? So we couldn't like go to Wooded Kingdom, look at the hint art, and then go to Sand later. So this is our way of manipulating that. That's why picking Wooded first is going to save us just a little bit of time, so that we can look at this hint art now instead of in the first visit where we had to like go out of the way. So we're going to do that right away, actually. Feels so weird to do this movement like 2 hours in instead of like right at the beginning.
Oh, definitely. That's the movement you do right at the beginning of the 90% run, typically.
Yeah.
In Wooded. So whenever you do it like, 2 hours into a run like this, it's just
It's a bit
weird.
jarring. Also, a lot of the kingdoms tend to go from like nighttime to daytime, or like some sort of doom and gloom version of the kingdom to like a brighter version. So like you can like typically speedrunners will use things like visual cues, right? And they kind of get weird when when you're doing the same movement but with like different lighting and stuff like that. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do.
Oh.
Get in there. Observation deck. Wait. Station 8. Okay. I know where we're going. Everything's fine. Ooh,
How are
just
you
made that
doing?
jump.
By the way, Dangerous, you asked us how we were doing. I thought to myself, how would it be to not ask you, how are you doing with everything?
Oh, I'm great. I'm vibing. I'm grooving. Not thinking too much about how I'm probably not going to beat the timer, but, keeping it out of mind. Just kind of perusing through the video
Spoilers!
game.
Dangerous, don't spoil it. Come on. I don't know if you're going to beat the timer or not. Don't spoil it for us.
You know what? Good point. Good point. There's always a chance, all right? There's always a chance.
I mean, we
I'm
all
gonna-
see how many moons you have, but we don't know how long those moons take, to be fair.
That is a good point also, yes. Hopefully not too long. Again, each moon is like 20 seconds at max, so... you can maybe do a little bit of math in your head and see, but also I might just crush it. Who knows? It's kind of hard for me to tell, too, because it's been such a long time since I did this run.
How many moons are you at? I haven't been keeping track.
That's a really good question. It's kind of hard for me to tell, too, because, like, I only know how many we left Moon Kingdom with,
Yeah.
and then there's just a mass of them on the screen. So it's hard. It's hard to say.
There's so many. It's not like Mario 64 where you you know how many stars you have at all times. This is a little less of that.
Yes. Yeah, the only like number that keeps track is like plastered right on the front of the Odyssey, so we won't really know until we dump our moons at the end of the painting chain, really.
Also, if you do not have chat pulled up, by the way, this is your reminder to stretch, hydrate, and self-care. However you need to do that, be sure to do so.
That's right. Take care of yourselves, gamers.
I'm getting a count from chat here. 119.
Yeah, that's just what you probably see on the screen. And then plus whatever we had from the earlier part of the game as well. Pipe in a cave. Oh, and then flooding pipeway. I see. I remember this. Get that one up in the ceiling. This is a fun little sub area. I'm on a timer as soon as I get in here, so everything's got to go fast.
And again, as a little bit of a preview too, Dangers will be back for the next time we do random number generation in less than 2 weeks here. So if you've been enjoying this, Dangers will be on again soon.
That's true. We're gonna be doing RNG, right?
Yep. And did you want to explain real quick, as a little bit of a preview, how can this game be randomized?
Well, Mario games don't typically have the reputation of being a random game, but there happens to be a little bird that lives in all the kingdoms. We're not talking to him here. Oh wait, I was supposed to go. Hold on a second. We're not going to be talking to him here because he's kind of like an extra in the game, and his name is Takatu. It just so happens to be a bird, which is fantastic. And they kind of like provide hints for you to help you find the moons. If you're having trouble, they'll give you the names of the moons in the kingdoms. So we're basically going to be doing an any % run, but Takatu is going to tell us where to go. Oh, what am I doing? Here we go. Maybe we'll just do this long jump.
Yeah, there was a question, does Dangers have a Twitch channel? Absolutely. I provided a link for both Dangers and for our lovely commentator as well, right there.
Yeah.
So please go give both a follow. That's twitch.tv/Dangers, twitch.tv/fur_.
That's right.
That's me.
That's you, Fur.
That's me. Oh my gosh.
Oh, speaking of birds, we're actually on a bird cycle right now. This whole segment that I'm doing right here, there's a bird that flies around the kingdom. And we are trying to speedrun against the bird, basically. We're trying to get all of these moons in before the bird gets here. We're going to see if I was able to do it. Take a peek. I don't see him, so I think we should be okay. I'm going to risk it. Risk it for the biscuit, baby. Yeah, I don't see him, so we should be okay. Oh yeah, there he is. You can see him out in the distance there. There used to be a strat that I used to do where I would like catch him in midair. That might be a little bit too risky for today, but...
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, because the deep woods that I was talking about, it's right below us, so... If I miss the bird, if I miss that moon, I fall in the deep woods and I lose minutes, so...
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right. Oh, okay, yep, sure, I'll just bonk.
Wait a second. Oh, yeah, I see what Richard did there. Yeah, those links too, the ones that Richard provided. Even more so, please. Especially if you want to contribute to Danger's steak dinner.
But that's only if I win. That's only if I win. I'm gonna try my best.
It could be a self-care steak dinner. No one's saying you absolutely have to win. You know, you worked.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you tried. You know.
Yeah. I mean, my scythe here can only cut steak. I can't eat it, so might as well go to someone who can eat it.
Good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, true.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Dangerous is getting steak tonight. It's decided.
You know what? I'll take it. Steak is delicious. So. Okay. Almost out of Wooded Kingdom. Almost out of the scary zone. That jump is pretty tricky, so I'm glad I got that.
You have just over an hour left, Dangerous. I believe. You,
All right.
even if you don't believe, I will believe for the both of us.
Please do. Please do. It's going to be cutting it close, that's for sure. It's going to be cutting it real close. Got to keep on keeping on, you know?
I don't feel like you made 8 minutes worth of mistakes, just based on what I've seen so far.
All right. You know, you might be right. You might be right. I only have like only so good of like a perception of this run too. Like I asked for the time when we finish, but I actually don't know like what time that is supposed to be anymore. You know what I mean? So we'll see. I didn't really want to do that, but... Oh, what? Hello?
Mario, you okay there?
So how do you determine if the mistake is Mario's fault or Kathy's fault? What is the order of operations here?
Usually it is Kathy's fault, so that's the default.
Yeah.
Mario can sometimes cause problems. I think the most common problem that Mario causes is what's called a value dive. And that's just like when you throw Kathy forwards, you kind of expect Mario to dive in the same direction. Like that's how the game is supposed to be. But sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes if the camera like turns a little bit, then he'll end up diving in a different direction and he just dives to his doom most of the time, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that is Mario's fault. If he bonks his head because he didn't jump high enough, I guess that could also be Mario's fault. But a lot of the time, Cappy is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, so we do blame him for a lot, but kind of because he's very responsible. Like he has to capture things, he has to collect coins, he has to collect shards, all that stuff, so... Love in the heart of the desert. On top of Stone Archway. Okay, I already got that. That's why I have an extra. Because I already got it on top of the Stone Archway. We're figuring things out. We're figuring out why I went fast. Oh, I did it. Nice. Oh, I'm so happy about that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, swaggy little jump with the Goomba there. Love to see it.
For sure.
I got a question for both of you, actually.
Sure.
Yeah, we got game submissions coming up soon for
Yes.
AGDQ. Is there anything y'all are thinking about submitting?
You know, a little bit. I would maybe consider submitting something for Galaxy as well. I always kind of go with something Odyssey. I don't know, it's tough.
Yeah, it definitely is tough. Like, what I'm actively doing right now isn't really something that is very submittable. Because Damageless does not fit into the, I feel, a GDQ run.
I don't know that though. I mean, there's been
I mean,
challenge runs and challenge showcases and things like that.
There definitely have been, but I don't know. It's tricky when like even if I like worked it out to where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do a shorter one. If like the length of the run itself is, you know, like I don't know, an hour and a half or something like that. If I pick something shorter, imagine like 10 minutes in, just taking damage. It's just like, well, it's just it seems like it would be hard logistically to get a longer run to work as a submission. But
Why don't you do 5-hit?
5-hit.
Yeah, that's a thing.
I mean,
I've had several friends do 5-hit runs.
we'll have to see. Maybe I can work out some sort of submission, but definitely have to see.
Be interesting. I enjoy 5-hit runs because they allow room for error, and a lot of people are just watching to count up with you. Not only that, you could do a thing where, you know, it's the same way where if you see someone get an amount of tricks or lose an amount of tricks in a run, you could do so much of a donation per hit, and then you could get friends to match you for the charity. I mean, there's all sorts of neat stuff.
Yeah.
But no, I honestly hope we see more showcases like that. I mean, speedruns are fun and all, but I have fun with the unpredictable stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
Fair.
I mean,
there've been some cool stuff.
think about the live Super Metroid runs we used to watch, where there were 4 players that started, but there was only 1 left at the end. We didn't know. We didn't know if those animals were going to be getting saved at the end. I mean, granted, yes, if you were staff at the time, it was, you know, a lot more scary than, you know, entertaining, but still, like, for us, folks watching, that kind of stuff's really exciting, you know?
Guess so, yeah.
So yeah, that's why I thought I'd ask, because I know y'all have been working on some pretty cool stuff lately.
Yeah, you know, typical Mario speedrun stuff. I'll probably submit some Mario speedrun stuff, but yeah, get in there for some challenge run stuff.
Maybe. We'll see.
Jaxie Reunion. Oh, I might have missed that one. I did miss that one. That's okay. Jaxie, I need you again. Hi, friend. Come with me. Reunite with your brother before I forget. This is one of the longer kingdoms in this category as well, so we're gonna be perusing Sand Kingdom for a while. There's just so many moons. I think it's like 90 something moons in this kingdom.
A lot of moons.
Just a few. And I should reiterate, that's how many there are in the kingdom, not necessarily how many we're going to be collecting, because some of them are slow. Some of them are too slow. Oh, that's not good. Okay, we might have to just do this the casual way. Boing, boing. Boing. Oh, are you kidding? Oh, no. Dangers, don't go so slow. What are you doing? You gotta go fast. There we go. Okay, I think I'm on track. I don't know. I don't think I've missed anything. We'll see. We'll see when we get to the end just what the damage is, I suppose. I guess that's kind of the beauty of doing a speedrun category you haven't done in a while, though, is like testing your knowledge and testing to see if you can kind of keep it all together.
Definitely, yeah. You're just sort of along for the ride, you know?
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're approaching the hint art that we needed to look at in Wooded Kingdom. It's all the way out here in the middle of nowhere. And you can tell that it's a Wooded Kingdom moon because it's blue instead of green like all the other moons are. Sub area. Okie dokie. Okay. All right. Okay. I see. I see where we need to go. I'm observing. Okay. Yep. Sure. Thank you, Koopa, for getting in my way. See if I can remember this movement. Yes. Very nice. And then they put a
never mind.
Yeah. That sub area is so silly to me because, like, they just straight up knew that you could just pretend that the whole thing didn't exist, which is just great.
Yeah, they just put coins up there.
They put coins up there for you. They knew that you could go up there. Also, that's... Don't mind me, I'm just cheating a little bit in the timer challenge.
Nothing to see here.
All right, this is like make or break moment. You see that sheep up there? We have to hit it. If we don't hit it, the run's over. Okay, that's the sheep of good fortune, so it's a good thing we hit it because I think that means we get to win.
Does it?
Kill. Yes.
Heck yeah.
I'm not a doctor, so I don't know for sure, but I think so. That was supposed to be a long jump, Mario, but that's fine. I didn't actually want one. Okay. We're gonna get Glydon. We love Glydon. Glydon's a good friend. He has a hidden mechanic where you can shake your controller and he'll kind of like do this like swooping attack, the swooping move. So we can utilize that to get that without using the moving platforms. And then we just very graciously throw him in the poison. Glydon is basically the Yoshi of this game, you know. Oh, did I not? Oh, what? That was
there
very
it
weird.
is. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird.
I must have got like a frame one spin pound or something because that was weird. I definitely hit the right
knows?
spot. It's like I definitely looked at this hint art. All right, there's some really cool movement coming up here. I hope that I can get it. I hope I don't hype it up and mess it up like I usually do here. Crossing my fingers. This will still work. Oh, that won't. Never mind. You know what? I'll go this way first. There's like, we were talking about dram strategies. We were talking about how you can like use Cappy to, we can use Cappy to like warp to places. But unfortunately my setup wasn't good, so we had to back down from that. Not a big deal. Have to get all those moons in a little bit of a different order, and that's okay.
So
Now on to Metro.
How do you know when you hit 500 moons? Does it give you the option or let you know you can access Darker Side?
So the Odyssey has like a number count on it. And so as long as like as a casual, you'd just kind of be dumping moons into the Odyssey just always. And then it eventually will prompt you with a message being like, yeah, now you can access Darker Side Kingdom, and it'll pop up on your map and stuff. But as you're kind of like perusing around, Cappy will also kind of give you little hints as well. Like a little text box will be like, "You got 500 moons now." So there are cues. There are things in the game that let you know like when you've unlocked certain things, I guess.
That's good to know, yeah, because I was thinking, like, if we didn't know your moon count, how are we supposed to know when we can access Darker Side? Are you just gonna over-collect moons, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the Odyssey is like it's a counter on the front of it. Yeah. Oh, I remember this part being particularly pesky, mainly because of this bunny, but we got him, no problem. Whoa. All right, sure. Good movement. I feel pretty confident in my gaming abilities right now. It's all starting to come back. It's all starting to come back.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you for being proud of me. It means a lot.
I'm also proud of you.
Yo, thanks. Sure, there we go. That works. That's fine. But yeah, this is really just like a collectathon. And honestly, like, speedrunners who do this game are pretty cozy. Especially when they do the longer categories. They're really good. If you don't watch Twitch very much, if you're not the kind of person that likes to watch speedruns on Twitch or whatever, but you're enjoying this, yeah, these speedruns are pretty cozy vibes for sure. What? Okay, I mean, it's fine. I don't think I was supposed to go here. That's okay, we can just do this part first. Ooh, I got it. Nice.
Heck yeah.
Landing on that post is particularly challenging, and we have to catch the bird. So can we get some burbs in the chat, actually? Oh, let's go. Ooh, very nice. This is a little bit different than I remember as well. I think there's been some routing changes here. But that's good. That's good.
Hopefully it's not too off-putting.
Nah, it's a lot of the same moons, just kind of in a different order, so I'm making it work. We need this, actually. Ah! Oh. Okay, this is a little bit of a tricky setup here. Nice, got it. Oh no! Oh, that's
No!
really sad.
That was... Yeah.
You hate to see it. Where do I show up here? Okay. Damn. You know, I actually think I need to capture an extra thing, so maybe that was on purpose. It's definitely on purpose, yep.
Yep, for sure.
Can I play you a song on that guitar? Maybe not when I'm speedrunning, but yes, I can play guitar. Okay. Let's see here. And then we just do slots. Yeah. Slots is another one of those moons that has a Toadette achievement attached to it. So if we do all 3 of the slots moons, we get like a 4th one for free, basically. So it's important that we do all the slots moons. They're a little bit slower than 20 seconds apiece, but you know, when you add in a 4th moon, they kind of bring the average of them all down. So come on, little pupper. Come on over here.
Now here's my question. Can you pet the dog?
Depends on who you ask. Fur, can you pet the dog?
I mean, Nintendo did not program anything in the game for you to like be able to pet the dog. I mean, you can play fetch with it with Cappy. So I mean, that counts for something, but I'm sorry, Dangers, I distracted you with my riveting dog talk.
No, it wasn't you. I'm trying to like remember where I'm supposed to go with this. It seems very different than I'm used to. It wants me to go do Captain Toad, but that seems so out of the way. I think I'm missing something here. The route is leading me astray.
Somebody changed it right before your Mercy Kill run as sabotage. Somebody offered them a steak to do it.
Yeah, probably.
You going on a pun here again?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Well, regardless of if this run is save or killed, I've just been very much enjoying myself this entire time.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too.
Oh, there we go. Here's a good one from Ralcoon in chat here. Cat throw farming is petting the dog. I will always insist this. You know what? I'm okay with that one. As long as the dog doesn't go without being pet. That just sounds so sad, you know?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, have you seen cap throw farming, Sky?
No, I actually have not.
You might, maybe, you might change your opinion if you watched it being done, whether it's petting or whether it's something else. Well, you know.
Oh, that makes me feel sad. So there is no way to pet the dog.
You kind of just jump on his head a little bit.
No. These are such good dogs. Why would you go out of your way to make such well-designed dogs and then not be able to properly pet and love them? It's
right.
wrong.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Ooh, that was pretty nice.
I just hope at some point there's a game developer that watches this, either here live or on YouTube. Please make sure that your dogs can be pet in the game. It brings us joy to bring that dog joy.
It brings everybody joy.
Exactly.
Okay. We're out of Metro Kingdom. Scary Kingdom behind us. Get it out of here. It's Lake Kingdom time. Now, time for a little bit more fishing, by the way, in case you guys weren't sick of that yet. Let's see. Nope. Nope. Yes. Okay. Third time's the charm. First fish took 1, second fish took 2, third fish took 3. That's just math, you know?
Yeah, it's true, actually.
This is fine. Everything's fine. Everything's going swimmingly. And I'm not just saying that because we're in Lake Kingdom.
Oh, dangers.
I know, that was gross. I'll see myself out.
Woo!
Dangers.
I'm sure
deserve
chat's
that
gonna have
one.
something to say about that in a few seconds here.
Yeah, probably. That's all right. I deserve it.
Oh, I only give you a hard time. I am willing to do that, Dangerous, but typically for charity. I don't know if I do that to my own avail.
All right. I like Lake Kingdom because of the sub areas. Hopefully, you know, me saying that doesn't mean that I'm going to ruin this one, but the whole point of this sub area is to use the frogs and like hop over these waves of poison, but you know, Mario is perfectly capable of jumping, as it turns out. Very close, but we made it.
Someone said that pun was dangerous.
right back at you.
Oh no. This is a direction we are taking.
Yep. It's become that part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. All right, it's starting to come back to me now. It's starting to come back, you know.
Well, if it's coming back, do you give yourself, do you give yourself decent odds to finish this? We're 2 hours and 40 minutes right now if you're counting the timer up instead of down.
So I just have like 30 minutes left, is what you're saying?
Let's see, 3:15-ish. Yeah, I was gonna say 3:15 is when the run will be saved or killed by. Right, the silence, it scares me.
Yeah, sorry, I was going into a room where I needed focus. I kinda
Okay,
hated that,
okay.
though.
Wait till after this room.
I'm actually not supposed to be here yet.
Don't worry about it.
Again, you did not need to share this information with us. That was completely voluntary.
You're right. But it's going to become pretty apparent once I, you know, have to leave. So the walk of shame away. This is a neat little trick, though. You can actually talk to this lady from outside of her room if you just, like, kind of move the camera around backwards. Dang, they took a lot out of this Lake Kingdom. You, like, don't go see Captain Toad anymore. This is very strange. This is all very strange.
Very strange indeed.
So,
I mean, it's all
guess
strange to me. I haven't ran this category in forever.
To answer the question, the person who was asking, like, is the route the same or not? Not really. Like, there's a lot of things that I'm kind of surprised by. So it's, like, mostly the same, but there's definitely some differences. All right. Oh, right. Yeah, now we do that sub area. We have to... All right. Let's see. Let's see if we can do it. Yes. Nice. All right, you got a little bit of gaming left in me. We love to see that.
Was there any doubt that the gaming was gone?
Just, you know, no doubt in my mind. I don't know about you guys.
I
Right.
believe in you, Dangers, so you know about me.
I know about you, for underscore.
You do.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do know about for underscore. All right. We're almost at the point where we dump all the moons into the Odyssey, which is always a very exciting point for people. So. Get this heckin' bunny out of here, dude. Oh, I missed. Okay, I didn't miss. Everything's fine. Nice. We love to see that movement. Oh, we don't like to see that movement. Okay, it's fine.
Fine. We're still gaming.
Would you, on a scale from 1 to 10, how gaming are we still for our
10.
underscore? 10? Oh,
Oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah, I would say 10, without a doubt, without
just
even
a
a
solid
thought.
10.
Yeah, so that makes 20.
That's 20 gaming.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of gaming. I don't know about that. That's a lot of gaming.
And again, y'all, please do not miss out. Please be sure to give both Dangers and Fur a follow. Just two wonderful streamers, wonderful people. Please be sure to give both of them a follow. This has been such a fun show.
Hey, thanks, Sky. Right back at you.
Heck yeah.
Okay, there appears to be some differences in this one, too. Got to keep my eyes open. We're like collecting turnips and stuff now. I don't think we ever used to get this in Darker Side, but here we are.
Well, that goes back to one of the questions that I asked you earlier, Dangers. Did you ever get a moon that you didn't intend on or wasn't in a route of some kind? Well, there we go. There's at least one.
Yeah, you're right about that, actually. Did I miss? I hope I didn't miss. Okay, it's just back here. Thank goodness. Oh, that could have been really bad. So yeah, I mean, maybe with my moon count being higher than it was supposed to be, it's possible that I did collect some moons along the way that I didn't need to. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, the only catch is without sacrificing time, we can't know exactly how many moons you have, which is a little scary.
A little bit, but we'll find out pretty soon.
I'm excited. Like, I'm on the edge of my seat. I want to know what your moon count is right now. We have a little under a half an hour to go. We just passed that 2:45 mark. We're at 2:46 technically right now. So,
Okay.
we'll see. You're telling me there's just maybe a chance.
There's a chance.
I believe in it.
Seek among food, lunch, and kingdom slots, and then yeah. And then we leave. We go take the Odyssey to Cap Kingdom. We dump our moons in there.
Oh, here we go then. So this is something pretty pivotal coming up here.
Yep. Oh, first we gotta bonk into the sidewalk. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's actually important. It's RNG manipulation for the slot machine in here. So what's happening is, yeah, manipulated RNG.
I didn't manipulate the RNG properly, as it turns out.
Of course. There we go.
There you go.
All right.
It's not RNG manipulation. The pattern is always the same.
And how come I
Just
hacked
in
it up
case
the
people
first time?
think that I was serious. All right, so what moon count are we looking for here, Dangers?
I'm gonna keep that a secret.
You're gonna keep it a secret?
Yeah, because I mean, even if it's not what Dangers was expecting, nobody else would know that. Now, without looking up some videos and some notes here.
That's right. Just know it's.
I think
that we
I might have a
lot
rough
now.
idea.
Just know that we have a lot of moons now. I don't. Okay. I'm very
is-
confused.
Are you very confused?
Wait, why are
Yes.
you confused? Hang on, we need to know more lore behind this. You can't just look at that number and be like, I'm confused. What's going on?
I'm exceptionally confused. I thought I was going to be short. I didn't think I was going to be that short. So now I'm confused. You know what? It's going to be fine. Everything will be fine. We'll figure it out as we go along.
So it's an issue of it being that short, dude.
Yes.
So the moon count here is different than the moon count, I think, on the route I ran. I think the route I ran was 396.
398 on the route that I'm running, so.
Oh, so 3.
Do a little bit of a scary jump there. No big deal.
I want to know about the lore as well too behind this. I'm looking at this number. It is etched in my mind, and I'm like, I know nothing about speedrunning this game. I want to know where this number came from.
398 is like what my PowerPoint is telling me I should have, and I have 3 short, so that's it. That's the lore dump. The lore dump is that I messed up somewhere. I don't know where,
Gotcha.
but I definitely messed up somewhere, and that might make things even more difficult for me. That might be the nail in the coffin, but you know what? We'll find out when we get there.
I'm just interested to see how close you get now, even if you don't finish. Just on what you know, how close can you get to it, even if you don't finish?
Right. It's possible that I'll be like in darker side when I get cut off. It's possible. Or Toadette. It'd be kind of underwhelming if I was still Toadette. But
We'll have to see.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not always about, like, if it's saved or killed, right? Like, the lore behind it and the thought process that goes behind this is always way more interesting than the result to me.
I'm just gonna grab this moon because I need backups.
But see, if there was any doubt now about if you were rusty enough, there you go, y'all. There's the proof.
Yeah, definitely rusty. Rusty plus combination of this being a pretty new speed game still, so like the routing for this is always going to be changing and getting better because there's always going to be an active runner seeking to improve, right? So there's always going to be stuff that even I don't know, despite the rust. So
If you don't pick up the game right away, we could always have you back at some point for a redemption arc.
ooh, you know, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could even do a different category because the only one I've been doing is all moons, so I'd be pretty rusty at all of them, truth be told.
We've had many people back for redemption arcs, either different categories or something. Redemption
That's
arc
great.
episodes are always fun.
Of course, yeah. Okay.
Have you been buying moons at a lot of the stores? I've seen a couple, but I haven't seen like a ton of the shops.
Yeah, I think most every kingdom that we go in, unless you have to like walk into a building, like a lot of the stores are inside buildings and stuff. Some of them we have been, like Luncheon, but other ones like Lake Kingdom we haven't. So it's a split, you know. I'd say we probably buy like 3/4 of the moons in this run.
I was just thinking about possible easy moons, you know, that you
yeah.
could get.
Yeah, I think that the shop moons are good backups in kingdoms that we don't buy them in, but yeah, some of the kingdoms, like we've already bought the one in Cat Kingdom, for example. That's part of the route, so it's just a matter of like finding the kingdoms that we haven't yet, which I don't think is very many now that we are where we are. Because I think we buy one in Lost Kingdom, and then I think we have to go back to Luncheon. We have to go back to Moon. I guess I could buy the one in Moon. Nice. you. Okay, we're gaming a little bit. We're also on a bird cycle right now, actually. We're supposed to be racing a bird.
Burp.
Burp.
Is this a tough bird cycle in Darker Side?
It's pretty lenient, it's pretty tight on the time.
But it does look like you made it?
We made it, yeah. So got him there just for safety, really.
Mm-hmm.
If you're really fast at all of that part beforehand, you can like let him fly by, and then you can catch him like when he's more close to that danger sign over there.
Okay.
But I was too slow, so yeah. Otherwise, if I had let him go, he would have been like way past. He'd be in Argentina by now. So
That's no good.
yeah. I mean, Argentina is really pretty place to visit. I'm sure it's great, but
yeah.
I just don't have the time to visit.
Yeah, the timer does keep going down, so can't take any trips.
Is 20 minutes enough time to visit Argentina? I don't think so.
But I think this was, for being rusty, and this was an ambitious run. This has been a heck of an attempt.
Yes. I mean, there were a couple of tricks that I was able to hit that I was pretty proud of, so not going to slight myself for that, that's for sure. Okay, we made up one of the moons that we needed.
Yeah, folks are asking, and I understand there's probably some new folks around. I know people have been asking about our show here. Yeah, once the timer's done, the run's done. It doesn't matter where the run is. It could be on the final boss. It could be on the final section. It could be a few steps before the end of the run. That's it, once that timer goes.
Yep. Yeah, looks like we get shopping here as well, so.
But you want to know what's not dependent on save or kill, again, is to make sure you follow both Dangers and Fur. You can do that.
Heck.
Still have a happy ending for both of our wonderful folks here. Decided to spend some time Dangers taking a chance, putting it all on the line to play against the timer for over 3 hours. I think this has been our longest Mercy Kill run so far.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
yeah, I believe so. We've had a couple that have been close to this. I think we had some Galaxy runs earlier on. But this has been, again, an ambitious and entertaining run. So regardless of the result, this has been great.
Yeah, thank you for having us on and stuff like that. That's awesome. Maybe I can get my redemption some other time as well. That's always exciting to think about. So
You are most definitely welcome.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
we are.
How about you, Fur? You and Dangers ever gonna switch seats here?
I guess we'll have to see. Who knows?
You know, I'm always down.
Definitely.
I mean,
be a
y'all
fun
could
time.
also you could also play together. If there's a game y'all play together, you could do this. We've had races before.
Oh, races too in Mercy Kill?
Yeah, we've had races in Mercy Kill. I mean, think about it as they both count as individual points of runner and timer. So if one of you saves and one of it kills, it's 1-1 between the runners and the timer for the tally. But yeah, races have totally been a thing. It doesn't happen often here on Mercy Kill, but it's always fun when it does. For example, again, we had a Galaxy 1 race at one point. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, that is a good question from the chat. What is Fur's rustiest run? I like that.
My rustiest run. Oh, we were talking a bit about this before. For the like, we actually went live, and my rustiest runs are probably because I think I stopped doing these runs around the same time, so it would have been late 2017, early 2018. So it'd be Hyper Light Drifter, VVV, and Hat in Time. Those are all 3 games I speedran, but if you check my speedrun.com page, my last PBs in all of those games are either late 2017 or early 2018. So
Oh, wait, a little bit on that statistic here. You're right. 8F's run was longer. Here's why I didn't think of 8F's run. My show typically will not run longer than 3 hours on average anymore. Because again, we're having a ton of great shows here on GDQ Hotfix. I forgot that at one point I did have a 4-hour run at one point, but unless it's like a special edition of Mercy Kill, then 8F may forever have the longest run. I forgot about that. That was the Twilight Princess run. It's also very epic. If you haven't watched that, go and watch that on YouTube at some point.
Ooh, Twilight Princess, yeah, that's a good one.
So this might be my second longest one then. I'm glad somebody looked that up though. That's good for folks to know. But still, I mean, 3 hours and 15 minutes of a routing nightmare like this game. Like the routing in this game is so intense.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, it's not a matter of may we stop the run if we go over time. We will stop the run at exactly then, because we have never before seen on right after this. And I don't want to keep that show waiting. I don't want to keep Amber waiting. So no, this stops when that timer hits 0.
Yeah, I'm racing the clock, and it's gonna be real close. I have Lost is just about done here, and then I have Mushroom Kingdom still, which is Toadette, and I have the rest of Luncheon, and I have the rest of Moon, but Moon is going to be really, really short, so...
Yeah, we got about 15 minutes left, right on the nose here.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be tight. That's going to be real close. I don't know. We'll see. I might be in Darker Side. That's probably where I'll be. All right. And then I guess I'll just, I'll get the shop. I think that seems like the idea. Get the shop here. And I guess I just kind of hope that some of the moons that I missed weren't Toadette moons, because if they were, then we're definitely going to have a problem.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Oh, I was supposed to get the turret too. Okay, we got that. That's okay. After this, we go to Luncheon again? Yeah. Luncheon. How much of Luncheon do we have left? Okay. Yeah, it's going to be real close, that's for sure. Okay. Luncheon's kind of interesting because we actually, like, halfway through this route, we just kind of leave it, and then we come back and complete the painting chain. Luncheon's like the last link of the painting chain. So because we need to end up in Mushroom where Toadette is, it just makes sense to kind of come back here through the Odyssey again. Ooh, that was close. All right, this room is really fun. We just, like, do not use the mechanics of this room, like, at all. We just, like, skip over it.
Yep.
It's so great.
Who needs it?
Not me.
Exactly.
We do need this cannon, unfortunately.
Oh, when you said you had to go to all of these places, these are like quick visits to all of these places.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like outside of the painting chain, especially, like we only visit Cap and Lost for like 4 minutes each or something like that. Because there's a lot of moons in this game that require you to, like, for example, bring a frog halfway across the Moon Kingdom. And, like, you know, we don't have time for that. So these moons really are, like, the fastest ones that exist in the game. They'll hop off the corn like that. Oh, good jumps. Good jumps. All right. We're going to need some cat jams in the chat pretty soon. Oh, that's not why. Whoa, okay, Mario, hold on a second.
That was pretty close.
I didn't like that at all. Need that back, thank you. All right, cat jams, or whatever kind of jam emotes you got in the chat. Playing a little bit of that banger, a little bit of a recap. Okay. And then a big pot. Yeah. All roof. Timer challenge. Okay. Oh, what? Okay. Had to do a little bit of improvised movement there because I kind of like just jumped off the roof for no reason. Okay. This is fine. This is good. Everything's fine. Oh, that fireball better not get in my way. I'm going to be very sad. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Nice. Oh, we're making the jumps we need to. We're making the jumps we need to. Oh, this is going to be so close. I think it's probably just going to be... Oh, wait, where am I going? It's going to be, like, just barely not enough time.
Wait, seriously?
I think so. We're going to see. Here. This one. Notes, and we need the... No, we don't need the 2 notes, right? Oh, but maybe I should? No, I got the moon. Okay, I'm like, like trying to figure out what it is that I need to do to get the moons that I need and not have any extras. I think we're good. I think.
Yeah, I'm showing almost 3 hours and 8 minutes right now on my timer.
Okay, so I have 7 minutes left.
Yeah.
I'll keep it to myself. I'll keep it to myself.
I'd like to know in the post-show what you were thinking right now.
Oh boy, it's gonna be close. That's for sure.
Oh, everybody get your GGs out. Past Dangers has just completed the run. GG to Past Dangers.
GG.
Let's go, Past Dangers. You know, I'm real proud of them. I'm just real proud.
So you get a completed run on this every single time. It just sometimes is the tiny run in the corner.
Yeah, exactly.
That is true. Hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
All right. I'm really glad I didn't rely on this shot moon because I wasn't sure if I needed to get it or not.
Yeah, Dangers only allowed about 7 to 8 extra minutes because, again, Dangers is very familiar with Odyssey as the whole because that's Dangers. Would you say that's your main game, just in general?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, so the more that the game is somebody's main game, the tighter the estimate typically is. And that's so in case someone wants to be on the show, they don't exactly have a run from 10 years ago, that's a way to involve everybody without having to be involved with speedrunning so long ago. I feel like this is a way so we can have a more diverse group of folks on the show and not just restricted to, did you speedrun in 2015? So
Right.
I think it's a fun way to do that.
I agree. That's pretty good. It's pretty awesome concept, honestly.
Well, yeah, I had thought about it, and not everybody had speedrunning equipment such a long time ago, you know? This is all still fairly new in terms of time.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, I speedran Super Mario World back when like Justin TV was a thing. Gosh, like the resources and the tools that were available then were just they were not the same. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, Justin TV, I think Ustream was a thing. I had an account back then, but I didn't start until it was actually Twitch.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, Justin TV can't even really like hold a candle to what Twitch has become, I guess. Like there was no making money on that platform. It was it was very early, I guess you could say. So.
Less than 4 minutes, by the way, less than 4 minutes.
Less than 4 minutes?
Ooh.
Okay, yeah. I hate to break it to you, but we might not even make it to Darker Side.
Aww. That's right, like I said, there is room for redemption arcs.
Oh, okay. How do I get on this roof? Does anybody know how to get on the roof?
Gotta do the thing.
Yeah, just do that.
Yeah,
Go
that.
ahead. Yeah, there we go.
Hey, you got it.
Gaming. I think we're going to be in Toadette when... we're going to be talking to Toadette right when the timer ticks over. We're going to miss all of the Darker Side shenanigans.
Well, Dangers, any last words?
Before what?
Wow! Really?
Goodness
That's how you
gracious.
treat your friend? Wow!
He just
Wow.
knows. He knows I'm teasing.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's too bad. There's like a cool trick in Darker Side I could have showed off, but that's okay.
Next time, next time.
Next time. On the redemption arc, assuming I, don't actually pick up the category and start getting good at it again. But yeah, this is the really exciting part of the run. This is where we just talk to Toadette for literally 3 minutes, which, coincidentally is how much time we have left. If we could just, if this was the day that Nintendo was like, oh, we've patched Super Mario Odyssey to allow for Toadette to just give you all the moons at once, I would have no problem. We'd be good. We'd be gaming. But... I guess this is the moment where I can say that I do like Mario speedruns basically every day that I stream. So if you want to see me redeem myself off of this show, then yeah, a lot of the follows that I've seen coming into the stream, that means a lot. Thank you guys for that. join for the Mario content, stay for the kitten, because she's, I don't know where she is right now, but she's kind of the star of the show. So shout outs to Fur_ as well for commentary.
Hey, that's me.
Does a lot of the same stuff, so please go give him some love.
Do the Mario, it's true.
I figured this is as good a time as any to kind of like, you know, bid farewell because I'm not really focusing on anything, but you know, as I
Danger,
drink
can you tell
slowly,
them about the
talk to
cool
Toadette.
tech you're doing right now?
Oh, there is some cool tech actually.
Oh,
Yeah, every time I talk to Toadette, I go into first person and save 0.2 seconds. That's the cool tech. That's it. That's the tweet. What were you gonna say, Sky?
we're not gonna cut the feed immediately when this is over. It's not
I'm
like
like over
that.
here
It's
with-
not that drastic. Jeez, we're gonna have
funny,
time.
though.
We're gonna no.
That would be
don't
hilarious.
Give,
It
It
would.
would
Y'all
be
don't
mean,
give-
though.
Do not give Richard ideas. Richard does not need any more ideas for this
No.
production. All right.
No, Richard, I know Richard. Richard has been a production for some of my shows that I've done. He doesn't need any tempting. He'll do the evil stuff. So
Richard, no, we still have the things that we talked about that we need to do. I do want y'all to give some shout outs once this timer goes, which is going to be approximately in about 20 seconds from now. I'll count from 5 down, and that'll be that for the run. Thank
Put
you
me
so
out of my
much,
misery.
though.
put me out of my misery.
Thank you for being a good sport, Dangers. The Scythe is about to get its first win of Season 2 of Mercy Kill. I know we have 4, 3, 2, 1. First win of Season 2, and thank you to Dangers for being a great sport here.
Yeah, it is what it is, you know.
It is what it is.
Lots has changed in Darker Side, and that's really refreshing to see, and it explains a lot as to why the category has come down in the time that it has. So, yeah, I mean, this run is really cool. There's a lot that I need to catch up on if I want to start getting good again, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Do you all have any final shout-outs, by the way? Anyone you'd like to thank? Anything you'd like to say?
Fur, you go ahead and start if you have any.
Richard,
I
hang on. Richard!
Yeah,
Richard, what did you do? Richard!
Richard cut my feed, dude.
Richard!
He put it back up. I think we're good.
Okay, all right, go ahead, Fur. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't really know if I have anyone specific to shout out. I guess the Dangers for having me on the show. You know, it was fun to be on commentary and just sort of chill for a bit.
Thank you for joining me. We're kind of partners in crime when it comes to this, this marathon
Yeah,
stuff.
you always have me on these hot fixes, and I get to
it's
bully
super
you
fun.
more.
How about you, Dangers?
That's the intended result, I guess. Shout outs to the Super Mario Odyssey community. Like I said, this run has come a long way in the time since I've run it. It's been about 18 months. There were a lot of things that kind of caught me off guard that kind of made sense, and I was like, oh man, they're really working on this run. They're making it the best that it possibly can be. So go to speedrun.com, look at the leaderboard for Darker Side, give all of those people like a follow, go check them out as well. They're very talented, and they put a lot of effort into making this run what it look what it looks like now. And they go fast, super, super fast. So huge shout outs to the Odyssey community. If you're at all interested in speedrunning this game, I think it's like a perfect kind of gateway into speedrunning, because it's the kind of game that's really easy to beat. Like my grandmother, for example, she doesn't play video games very much, but if I gave her a controller and said beat Super Mario Odyssey in one sitting, she could probably do it. Like, it's an easy game, difficult to master though. So you've got basically unlimited replay value at your disposal. If you don't know what game to start speedrunning, try Odyssey. It's got lots of resources. You won't regret it. So I think that's all I got.
I think given how wonderful this episode is, we'll have to have the sequel at some point. I won't tell you all when until it's like 2 weeks before, but we'll have to have the sequel. However, Richard will be back. Richard's always going to be here. Dangers will be back on random. Yeah, they're all still talking about what Richard did there. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. Dangers will be back on Random Number Generation in less than 2 weeks now, and probably back for this eventually. We'll say 2022. We'll even do it early just so we don't forget.
Sure, a little reboot.
Yeah. But thank you again to Dangers for being a good sport. Thank you to Fur for amazing commentary here. And before we pass off to Never Before Seen, which by the way, we have more content. Never Before Seen will be immediately after this. I just want to introduce the content in the next 2 weeks for the next Mercy Kill. We will be having the one and only Frozen Flygon on for Super Mario World All Castles and Hamtaro. Ham Unites. So you definitely want to see that in a couple of weeks. Big fan of Frozen Flygon. It's going to be a fantastic episode of Mercy Kill. And if you haven't done so already, real quick, please give both Dangerous and Fur a follow. And with that being said, I am Skybills for GDQ Hotfix. Y'all, stay tuned for Never Before Seen. Take it away, Amber Cyprin.